Hey, Chad, just letting you know, we're sitting on standby for a second, because YouTube is saying there's a juice problem. So I'm hoping the stream will clear up a little. If it doesn't by 10 past, we'll resume normal operations. It still says poor, so I guess we'll throw it over there and see. Okay. We're connected to the VC. Sorry, Discord was a little slow there.
The chat's not loading for me. It's not a big deal, though.
There's nothing else going on in there. Just me saying it was a
No,
little
I couldn't type in the chat either right now. It's weird.
I think YouTube, it's a YouTube backend, because OBS was a little slow to wake up today, but, you know, no dropped frames, no extra CPU or anything, so we're streaming out okay, but YouTube is giving me a, you know, poor stream health, so they might be a little scrunched in the server's back end. Anyway, hi, everybody, it's Portrayal. Sorry about the slight delay and then the slight early. I was trying to see if it would smooth out a little, but the preview window doesn't look too bad. I was gonna say, tell me in the chat if you have any problems, but if chat isn't loading, then that intrinsically means you can't report that chat is having a problem. But if you are doing okay and seeing okay, feel free to sound off in chat. I will apologize if I sound a little lower energy than normal. I am a little, I guess, tired today. I don't know. The, you know, frontal space of my sinuses is bothering me a little today. I think it's because it was the first, like, really cold day, and now we're trying to settle in.
Yeah, that's kind of why I bought, like, digestion plus painkiller meds.
Sorry, I was going to say something, then I tapped over to the Vintage Story chat for a second. Aaron's work forced him to take, like, a week off. Probably because he's, you know, had some vacation days stacked up, so I think we're planning on actually fiddling with the server and then updating to the latest versions after triple backing everything up. But he just reported that he's lost a canoe, and I was very bamboozled by that for a sec. What I was gonna say was that honestly, I don't like feel super congested. I just am kind of like tired and have a headache, but it's in that. And, you know, chat, I've never double-checked this, but I assume that somebody had to have some reasoning when they do those, like, oh, you know, headache pain diagrams. It is the spot, like, right behind, you know, my nose bone right in front, which is usually the sinus zone. You know, in between your eyes and a little above and below. But it was cold. Honestly, it's cold right now. I don't know how warm it got today, but it's like 44 degrees outside. With all the computers running the streaming and stuff, we're good. But YouTube continues to still give me the yellow light. So, like I said, hopefully everybody's viewing out there okay. You may notice a slight incongruity between the thumbnail image we're using to start this and what I put on the text. Don't really have any, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, updates to bring you. I mean, I guess they announced, you know, another round of legendary decks for, like, early next year. So I guess we're going all in on that product line after the the 5Ds ones were so well received. They just announced like the full deck lists a while ago, and they're gonna have like cheap ass reprints. Oh hey, green light, excellent quality. Chat, if you're chatting, drop me a chat in the chat.
That works.
Sorry, that is absolutely the sleepy talking. Okay, sounds like YouTube's catching up. Okay, cool, good. Hopefully smooth sailing. But yeah, no real new Yu-Gi-Oh news. There was like a huge Genesis side event at the last YCS circuit over the weekend. So like I think we're gonna get some cool data for both the normal advanced metagame and Genesis. But we'll continue to let that one brew. I mean, I guess I should bring up, because a lot of people were talking about it. Master Duel did specifically have a gameplay survey recently, which only gave you 10 legacy tickets, and was mostly about stuff like, hey, have you noticed we put in some new animations and we really reorganized our UI, probably because everybody puts like, what's your experience building decks? Dog shit. Probably because they have to spend so much UR dust, which is probably technically not what Konami's asking, but is possibly still true. So they like cleaned up all their like search and sort results and stuff, and basically nobody cares about that. So if you want to, shoot them a messageo. Get your free 10 legacy tickets. But we're in. Sorry, burps not going there. We're firmly into the Vrains right now. So we're going to do something that we probably should do more, because we always think we do it, but then we didn't actually do it, and it hurts our brains. But we're going to talk a little bit about legacy support, because we did do a Trickstar episode. That was like 2 years ago, in 23. Because time is a flat circle, I didn't realize the Trickstar support was earlier this year. So, hey, cool. That was Maze of the Master when we got Man archetype. So we will talk about that, because we haven't. And then we'll use it as a jump into another Vrains archetype we have not talked about yet, which is Marincess. I think I said on Rogue Trader yesterday that I was like, yeah, I've actually have no idea what we're doing. I had to go back and double check. The next structure deck would be Machina 2, but we have done all of Machina, and there have not been new Machina cards like since that structure deck and since like the Ruin Force stuff. Which probably means at this rate there'll probably be somewhere. I think, like, honestly, once we get out of doing a handful of rain stuff like Marincess and probably Altergeist is what we got left. Those don't have structure decks, but we're involved in the anime. We're gonna have to do another anime archetype, because we're gonna have to do a Sacred Beast episode, which I don't think we've done. Because there was a Sacred Beast structure deck. It was not very good, but people bought it. But we're going to talk about the Trickstar support. Honestly, the Trickstar support's pretty good. I played it in Master Duel. Like everything else in Master Duel, that's like they added 8 cards. They're all way too expensive. Like, I feel like there's somebody in the marketing team at Master Duel who assigns rarities to cards who, like, they keep in a little box, and, like, don't actually let them look at, like, what the market value of any of these cards is. Because I don't think even in the OCG, the Trickstar with support was putting up results. But they're just like, ah, shit, new Trickstar cards. They're brand new? I guess they're all ultra rares.
So?
So yeah, don't know. But we're going to start with, first of all, the first one. Let me make sure I'm grabbing the bigger image. And in case you don't remember, Trickstars are angels who are named after plants but are not plants. Don't get that twisted.
Oh, anime from.
They're also probably idols. I don't really want to fight Wikipedia on that one. Also, I mean, it was. I haven't watched Vrains, but Vrains was the cybery one. So, like, if there was a internet idol, that probably makes sense. And then she decides to be water-themed. But, Trickstar Hoodie, one of our new main deck monsters, which is pronounced or written as Trickstar Foodie? I don't know why, because who's a sound that you can do in Japanese? Trivia page has no notes. Actually, I should specifically say, I joked about them being plants, don't get it twisted, but almost all of the Trickstars are named after poison plants, in case you have forgotten. Which is why they poison you, by which I mean they make you pay life points. Hoodie's an amazing monster. She should not be a UR in Master Duel, but as evidenced by In Maze of the Master, she was a super rare, which that was an all-foil set, I think, so that's a common. Still very important. If you don't know, which is fair, Hoodie is kind of ambiguous. She is probably named after Monk's Hood, a.k.a. One of the many, many names for Aconite, a.k.a. Wolfsbane.
Huh.
Very famous, popular, poisonous plant. I'm not really sure, why that would... Aconite is purple. And she does kind of have the flower shape as her dress, but she seems very, very much the goth one out of the crew as a result. But she has a little harp. Got 2 enormous twin tails? Yeah, you can. It's hard to see the one behind her lyre, but she's got 2. We probably talked about it a little, but each of the Trickstars has this kind of like funny little, frame within a frame thing going on. Not sure why they went that route, but they did. It's pretty consistent.
I think it's the thing that just like goes a link error as opposed to what I thought.
I mean, there's no frames in frames on. Sorry, I forgot how to say Salamangreat for a second.
That's Salamangreat. No, that's fair. I guess it feels like it's typically this there kind of thing because it's like it's showing the actual plants in the corners.
Yeah,
I guess it gives it more of like a fucking poster art kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's kind of like a poster or like an actual like collectible card type thing, like a memorabilia thing to be like, hey, look, it's Trickstar Hoodie. Here, you can tell she's related to Monk's Hood by this decorative frame.
Also, the fact that her dress has like the cool like melted like the melted poison look to it.
No, there's a lot of good design touches.
There's
and I'm
touches.
pretty sure.
Also, the fact that
sure
when the
new
stuff
supports-
literally is like a fucking old theater style post, like old theater style flyer.
I mean, that would make sense. We will actually look at the Blue Angel, the 2 Blue Angel cards they came up with, because they are kind of like a transition between. Konami did not commit to the bit of trying to make these 2 decks actually work together because they cannot. One of them are Light Fairies, the other is Water, and I think they're. Are they actually all Water Cybers?
It's what she had initially, and then she got the Water AI, so yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're all Water Cybers. But, like, there are a couple of cards that are, like, cool bridge support. It kind of reminds me of, like, the stuff they tried to do with, oh, God, what's the fucking... I was going to say the music archetype, but that doesn't help. It also doesn't even help if I say the music pendulum archetype. The anime music pendulum archetype. Like, I can name you the... Melodious, there we go. It's like, I can name you the monsters. There's the archetype name. There's a couple of weird Gem Knight Melodious bridge cards. Usually they trend to be more useful in one side of that than the other, but a few of them are actually useful in either deck. Both of which are, like, decently strong, by the way. So, we'll look at, I think she's literally Blue Angel. No, Trickstar Aqua Angel. Yeah, we'll look at her last, basically, because that's the bridge. But what I was going to say before that was that I am pretty sure that with the exception of Noble Angel, because they just made Holly Angel 2, none of the rest of these gals actually appeared in the anime. So this is all, pure legacy support. It's kind of funny. I think there are a couple of Trickstar names, not that they're, like, super good, but there are a couple of Trickstar names from the anime that aren't in paper yet. But that's what Animation Chronicles are for.
I don't know if their effects are like that crazy or not.
Well, one of them I looked at's not super good because she's like a level 5 without a special summon condition, I think. But she can, like, when summoned, I think her effect was, when summoned, deal 200 damage. If it was tribute summoned, like if you don't use another effect to special her, you draw a card. Also has the ability to equip 2 cards on the field, which, like, can prevent your opponent from attacking or give your own trick stars like extra effects. But she unfortunately had the clause that when you do the summon effect where she burns and you draw, you can't attack that turn. So, like, not great on like a level 5 with bad stats, but there's a few of them out there. A trick star is typically a deck, ideally, and actually with Hoodie, we'll talk about her effect in a second. Hoodie plays a little more into the fusion side than the other side, but typically what you're doing with Trickstar is you are doing a, like, proper link spam deck where you're trying to put a bunch of gals on the board, link up into a couple of the really good link monsters, maybe revive a couple of the ones who have really good standalone effects. Obviously, Candina is the one that burns when your opponent... Actually, no, Licorice burns when they draw. Candina is when they activate a spell card. Mandrake, I think, is the one that's when they activate an effect in grave or hand. So, like, they have a couple of different burn conditions. Funnily enough, Hoodie does not have a burn condition. I feel like they wanted to avoid making Trickstar too easy to set up an FTK, and Trickstar Reincarnation, for instance, has been, like, restricted, like, overly long in all Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats. But Hoodie is a level 2 light fairy, 600 attack, 1800 defense. If you control a Trickstar Fusion or Link monster, you can special summon her from your hand. If this card's sent to the graveyard as material for a Trickstar Link monster, this is another thing, by the way, Trickstar's secret boss monster back in the day was Firewall Loops. So we have to prevent you from doing that. So send her as material for a Trickstar Link monster, add Trickstar Fusion or Trickstar Diffusion from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So she's pretty free extension once you already have a Trickstar extra deck monster on board, and then she serves as a way to search the fusion so you can then, you know, combine the two. Pretty normal extender, like I said. She's pretty good, but it's, again, the quota Master Duel has for URs, I don't want to sound too much like a broken record, but I also feel like if I just get, like, acclimated to it, like, if I just be like, I guess that's just how it is, then they win. Like, I have to do at least a little bit of, like, I could improve those rarities a little for decks that are not going to do anything in ladder. And then I think, yeah, because we're doing Aqua Angel later, we're immediately jumping to the extra, which is honestly fair. I think Trickstar has a pretty good main deck. Like, you already, because it was an anime archetype, had enough bad names you just cut that you were running only the good shit. So, Hoodie, I think, is a pretty good 3 of these days. I'm pretty sure Aqua Angel is also a pretty decent one to bring in. We're going to talk about their new fusion monster, because they got a new one. Trickstar Band Dramatis. Get it. She's the drummer.
I should probably get going to make sure other people show up, but I love most of the Trickstar designs. I think they're fun. I would say this also because it's like I never noticed this close up of actually noticing all of the actual like poison details to them.
Yeah, it's funny actually.
Because I'm used to thinking more of them as like I compare them to like the gorillas, where it's like they're not like VTubers, but they're more like they're fucking virtual avatar fucking band players, you know?
Yeah,
like
they are an
Bang
actual
Dream.
band.
They're more like Bang Dream characters than actually like Love Live shit.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, they are a characters doing a bit, or like avatars that are part of an art piece than necessarily a performer behind a persona. Dramatis is named after the family of flowers Clematis, which are there's a lot of them in there, but you can see them in the corners as well. But yeah, I believe the other fusion monster is band guitar. She probably has another word in her name. But yeah, they added an extra fusion monster. They went all out on the purple to let you know she's a fusion-y one. Even though I think most of the links are not necessarily blue. There's a couple of red ones. But yeah, they're very good designs. What I was going to say was it's very funny that they're light fairies because they have these very dark color schemes and they are a burn deck. And also in the anime, the blue, I can't be... I'm sorry, Chad. I'm cognitively impaired. I can't be arsed to actually remember which of her, like, 4 names, because every character has a name, a dub name, and then they have, like, fake internet names. It's not easy to talk about Vrains not having watched it, because it's, like, try to remember everybody's, like, real name, alias, etc. But she plays a card called Dark Angel, which is a dark fairy, which... It's not a Trickstar, but it looks exactly like the Trickstars. It's so funny. So I'm kind of surprised, you know, at time thinking about it, that, like, yeah, these girls are actually kind of, like, poison-themed. And sometimes they're a little, you know, goth or punk, but they're light fairies. Drumatis is a level 6 fusion. Fairy, obviously. 2k attack, 1000 defense. She is just any 2 Trickstar monsters. Trickstar Link monsters, you control the point of this card. Gain 1000 attack. I'll see you later, bud.
Sorry, I can't say
Thanks for showing up. No, it's okay. You get scheduling. I knew this. And I pushed back the stream for technical stuff, chat. We'll schmoove cruise until hopefully, like, Loth wakes up or somebody else takes pity on me. Or you guys will just suffer with me alone, like I said, because I'm like, EP and have a headache. And I yearn for the mines of playing more FFT. Actually, no, I yearn for the mines of Far, Far West. That game was fucking rad. I'm so sad that the playtest ended exactly on the 10th. Would love to have brought that over to you for a stream. Though I don't know, they're adding Rogue and Gambit. I might have to get back into Marvel Rivals. I did not really click with that game super deep, but you know, we gotta rep. Anyway, Drumatis. And not Dramatis, Drumatis. I already said that Link monster she points to gains 1000 attack. You can use its flying effects once per turn. If she's fusion summoned, add a Trickstar from your deck to your hand with a different name in the cards you control or in your graveyard. If effect damage is inflicted, target a face-up monster on the field. Its attack becomes 0. That second effect almost never fucking matters because they tried to give Trickstar some going second plays. It doesn't work because the deck doesn't like have any board breakers on its own. But it's cute if, like, you don't set up a board where you, like, Death of 1,000 cuts to your enemy and then you punch them out on turn 2 after some disruption. Like, it works as, like, if you summon her again. The primary one she has is if fusion summon, add a Trickstar that's not on your field or in your graveyard. And also the effect damage, it works that, like, you can set it up later to, like, summon in the middle of your opponent's turn or some other effect. Technically, you might, like, get a reaction out of your opponent if they're, like, you've got, like I said, the graveyard or hand one. Just the odds that, like, you're going to do effect damage when your opponent, whatchamacallit, like, does something after they've made their big bungulies, very low. I think Drumatis has helped me out a couple of times, like stopping my opponent from just going battle phase and swinging, like continue to play out their turn. But like if your opponent just makes an access code talker, I don't actually think... If Trickstars have a monster, and chat, you can double check me on this, but if Trickstars have a monster that is like, if your opponent activates a monster effect on field, they take 200. If they do have that, they're a bad one. I think the main thing is just that a couple of the links can just do effect damage either like randomly or I think one of the good links is 200 on special summon. But again, obviously you have like your opponent's going to see that coming a mile away if you're holding Drumatis. So it's a cute trick, but it won't always work. But zeroing out your opponent's cards does help. It is also a targeting, so that can also come back to bite you. But Trickstar, I feel like, is a deck that's like set up for mostly going first plays, and then they tried with this wave of support exactly to give them a fairly broad range of interaction that's not just reincarnation, banish your whole hand, draw 5 cards, take 1,000 damage. You want to add cards to your hand, take more damage. So Dramatist is a pretty key one. I think, honestly, the thing that does more for the deck, like in terms of not dying to just the battle phase, is the Link monsters get 1,000 attack, because you can set up some locks, chat. My god, all I had to do to get comments was to post more shorts. Sorry, chat, I actually got a notification of a comment on a video. Posted a short today, by the way. We did another news desk. Because people liked that last time. Anyway, that's not what you're here for today, though. Next, we're going to talk about... there are a couple of Link monsters. And I think this one is brand new. Like, properly brand new. This is Trickstar Kolchika. We got a new Link one. She does not search a field spell, because the deck already has a lot of ways to do that. I'm actually thinking about it. Chat. I think also one of the things with Trickstar is just that, like, when they came out, their main field spell, Light Stage, and then Reincarnation were, like, pretty nasty cards to have, like, in-archetype searchable and stuff. And then just... like, power creep happened, drift happened, chat, and all they really needed to do to have a decent shot at coming back was getting off the ban list. Light Stage was limited, by the way, for I think a year or two. But Kolchika's named after Colchicum autumnal. Literally, that is its scientific name, which is a... toxic plant. You might know it as autumn crocus, meadow saffron, or apparently naked ladies. It's because the flowers emerge before the leaves do. That's very funny. But Kolchika's another Link one. She's very cute. You can see the Kolchika flowers on the side there. I do like that, like, it's not perfect, but you can kind of tell, like, how much attack juice each Trickstar is supposed to have based on their, like, general proportion. Kolchika's kind of small and petite here, and she's a Link one who doesn't have a lot of attack power. Meanwhile, like, Bella Madonna is, like, a big, tall lady, you know, in queenly garb. It's very funny. No idea, by the way, how Bella Madonna gets into the band act. At least Kolchika has a microphone here. She also has headphones and has sirens in her hair. Don't know why. Who needs bubble lights up there? Anyway, Kolchika, like I said, Link 1, because she's got a back arrow. She's got 200 attack. She requires a single, exactly one, non-Link Trickstar monster. You can only special summon Kolchika once per turn. That does actually matter, by the way. I have run into times when I would like to summon an additional Kolchika. But when a monster is destroyed by battle involving your Trickstar monster, while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish it, target the destroyed monster, inflict damage to your opponent because that monster's attack. Use this effect once per turn. Yeah, Kolchika's just a Link 1. She doesn't even search the field spell. She doesn't do fucking anything except clean up your board state. So basically, any non-Link Trickstar you summon can now be a Link 1, which means you can send it as material. You can set up effects like having a Link on a field. Like, you can basically normal summon any Trickstar, link it off into Kolchika. You can now summon Hoodie and make a Link 2 and search Fusion, etc., etc. So it's a pretty good effect to have in of just, like, how this deck works. You need a Link 1, and like I said, only being able to summon her once per turn actually matters, which is very funny. A lot of times it doesn't, but it would be nice sometimes to summon her twice. How do I know? Chad, I played this deck. Came out in Master Duel, you know, I tried. It was actually a loner for an event. Maybe for a couple of events. Anyway, sorry, the computer's being a little slow. Let's grab our next one. There we go. It's time for Trickstar Noble Angel, a.k.a., I joked about this already, Holly Angel 2! Very funny, by the way. So, I would guess that Holly Angel is supposed to be like the... It is kind of the iconic ace monster, even though out of the links, Holly Angel's just kind of mostly all right. She's a pretty good Link 3, but... Actually, she's not even Link 3, she's a Link 2. She's a pretty good Link 2, but there's some other ones. Yeah, it's every time a Trickstar's normal special, do 200. So, that can matter in the original. Yeah, I went Goblin mode with this deck. Oh, let's say he's booting up. I think I'll probably run off real quick then while Lost waking up. But I want to compare you to the original. So, on the left is the original Holly Angel. On your right is Noble Angel. So, Noble Angel is just Holly Angel plus. Her flail is now watery. It's got crystal hearts in it. She's got the same frame, obviously. Her outfit is similar, but is more glitzed and glammed up. She has bigger wings also as Noble Angel. But still kind of fundamentally doing the same thing. She's also named after Holly, in case you don't know. Holly is poisonous. And her name being Noble Angel is like the alias that the Vrain's character uses, which is just Blue Angel. Noberu Angelu versus Buru Angelu. And generally what Noble Angel does for the deck is she's a pretty decent extender. She's 2,000 attack. She's got the same backward pointing arrows, the two corners, as, what's-her-face? Holly Angel. She just requires 2 Trickstar monsters, so she is archetype locked. If this card is Link Summoned, add a blue tier's card from your deck to your hand. If you have a fusion monster in your field or graveyard, target a Trickstar in your graveyard, special summon it. If effect damage is inflicted, target a face-up card in the field, destroy it. You use each effect once per turn. So there's still a decent number of times where, depending on what you're doing, you might want to summon Holly Angel over Noble Angel, but Noble Angel's still a pretty good one to summon. She is extension if you're doing the combo with, like, Hoodie into getting fusion. You know, so she works as good extension for that. If you link off one of your fusion monsters you made, you can use Noble Angel to summon her back because it's in your graveyard, etc. So it is still a pretty good card, and the fact that her thing is now if you deal effect damage, except during the damage step, target a face-up card, destroy it. Each effect, by the way, is once per turn. That adds another, like, layer of disruption, but still means that you need a source of effect damage at a time when your opponent's going to have face-up cards that matter. So, mainly the way you play Trickstar is you just set up a lot of really annoying interactions your opponent has to be careful about. So, I will pull up Diffusion on screen, and then I'm going to run away for a sec to take a bio break. Because we've been going for, what, 30 minutes? Yeah. We're at 30 minutes, and unfortunately, because stream was a little slow to set up, I did not get my full preparatory time. Ugh. Sorry, I tried to avoid a big-ass yawn. Alright. So, look at the card art for Trickstar Diffusion. I will be right back. Sorry, that's just grossly out of center. There we go. There we go. That's more in center. Alright, chat, I'll be right back with you. Sorry about that, chat. I'm leaving my layers a little slow because it's cold. According to the temperature reported by my computer, it is 39 degrees outside. So, dreadfully sorry for taking such a break, but like I said, it's cold out there. We're moving slow. Sorry, I had to fight myself. I deeply wanted to quote Dracula flow, chat. Moving different. They must have amnesia. They forgot I'm him. I don't care if I go blind. I didn't need to see the price tag anyway. The worms are back! Anyway, Trickstar Diffusion. This is actually a trap card. So fun fact, these Trickstars aren't real, as in they do not represent actual Trickstar archetype cards. Yeah, they're just here. But this is a trap card. Trickstar Diffusion, which is technically, because it has Fusion in it, Fusion is a fusion card if you ever need to search it. But it's a normal trap that says either immediately fusion summon a fusion monster, a Trickstar fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials from your graveyard. So it's a Necrofusion. Or immediately after this card resolves, link summon a Trickstar link. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Trickstar you control this turn. While it's face up, your opponent's monster is going to target that for attacks. So you can use each effect once per turn. Diffusion, really good card. Because it's searchable, like, I was going to say 9 different ways as a joke. That may literally be true. But because Trickstar is a deck that has, like, a gajillion ways to search, including one of your new really good support cards that you probably want to play 3 of, literally searching just this card or your normal spell Fusion. This is a really good disruption to set on turn 1 because either you can use it to get a banned Dramatis out or you can use it to get the guitar out, who also, I believe, has a battle-related effect or an attack-related effect. Also, sorry, chat, hold on. I'm going to lean away from my mic and blow my nose real quick. Maybe I am feeling a little congested, a little nasally. Okay, we're breathing. We're breathing different. But anyway, Diffusion. Yeah, it's a good disruption to set, or it lets you link summon surprisingly in the middle, which can be very useful for activating some of your monster's effects that only proc when they're link summoned, such as forcing your opponent to draw a card. You know, shit like that, which can then, you know, proc effect damage and other stuff. So no, it's a really good one. And then you can only use each effect once per turn, but can use both in the same turn. So then you can immediately banish this from your graveyard to basically do a breakthrough skill type shit. It is only while that monster's face up on the field, so it doesn't work if they remove it some other way, but it can be a way to, like I said, Bandromatis gives you your link monster that's pointing to at 1,000. So you can just, like, force your targeting onto your biggest, I was going to say biggest gal. And it can be very useful. It's a card you probably run at least one of because it's so super searchable. But let's talk about Aqua Angel. Aqua Angel is the bridge card that kind of, you know, brings these two archetypes together. And she's a very funny one. Design-wise, she's very interesting. She obviously has some water stuff going on. She's got very idle-style glow sticks. So her design is very fun. So she's based off a plant that is known by the common name in Japanese, Mizuawe, which I'm assuming that's they're using blue water. The scientific name for which is Monocoria Korsakawi. Sorry, the solo tracks are let me reset at the beginning. The solo mode tracks are playing and they're all like super super dramatic. Let's wind that back in. not a lot about the plant. It's mostly in Asia. But yes, Aqua Angel. So, there's a lot of very funny things about this card because Aqua Angel is a level 4 Water Fairy 0/0, and she comes with a fun factoid. She has a parenthetical. This card is always treated as a Marincess card. So, hold on, blowing my nose again. Sorry about that. I guess I am a little more congested than I thought. Or just the drugs are running out on my system. But yeah, so Aqua Angel is simultaneously a Trickstar and a Marincess, and because of that, she has some very funny stuff. She is the only Marincess that is not a Cyberse. She is the only Trickstar that is Water attribute. So, a true hybrid archetype. She also says, Link monsters appointed to this card can't be destroyed by battle. Use each flying effects once per turn. Or no, once per duel. Sorry, this is a once per duel effect. If you control a Trickstar or Marincess, special summon her from your hand or graveyard. If she's sent to the graveyard as Link material, you can look at all cards in your opponent's hand and all set cards they control. Now, correctly, Master Duel pegs this one as an SR because, honestly, I think this card does more for Marincess as, like, a generic water extender. Not that Trickstars, like, usually lock you to anything other than maybe Trickstars, but this is, you know, free extension, works in graveyard, so you could, like, normal her, do the whole thing I talked about with, like, Colchis and stuff, and move on. And then link her back. And the ability to look at all cards in your opponent's hand, or that are set, obviously, if you're using Light Stage to block up the board, can be very fun. Like, technically, I think the idea is you're probably supposed to, like, use her before you set, if you decide if you want to search, like, a reincarnation or something, and you go, yes, nice hand. We're going to reincarnation this shit away. Or you can go, your hand's meaningless. I'm going to let you keep it. But yeah, I think her being a water and a level 4, more important to Marincess decks than to Trickstar. But still, I do love that they are trying to do a couple of these bridge cards. They're trying to bridge the archetypes together in a really fun way. Well, yes, Spiridon, but that's also because Blue Angel is the character who plays both the Trickstars and the Marincess, which is why they made a Trickstar Marincess card. It's kind of interesting to have her be Aqua Angel and not just Blue Angel, but I guess they wanted to shake it up. That character's name in Japanese, because I know this now, outside of my, fog of confusion and fear. In Japanese, her given name is Ali. And so, I mentioned before, the name of this plant is, in Japanese, like, common name is Mizu Aoi, so, yeah. The design is also similar to her Blue Angel avatar. But it is still looking a little more... Oh. Sorry, it was a dramatic wall thump.
Sorry. Try to adjust my mic on my screen here so it's not...
So you can see. That's okay. It's just funny. I just, like, imagine you, like, cramming your way into the desk. Like imagine we're in studio and you just, like, slide in.
Yeah, sadly, Alpha GX is taking a bit to load up, so I don't have the stream open, but I am here.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We're talking about Trickstar 2.
Yay.
Which will lead us into Marincess. Because, yes, to remind everybody, if you showed up later, and to say it for Law, because he wasn't here when I started the stream, we did Trickstars as they were a couple years ago in 23. This new Trickstar support is from literally earlier this year. Maze of the Master, once again. So, yeah, we're actually updating and catching up, and that goes into Marincess. But, yes, you'll see, I'll leave her on a little bit, so Loth can take a second to actually pull it up. But when I pull up the first Blue Tears card, referenced by Noble Angel, this is also very reminiscent of, like, actual, Blue Angel's character design. But it's still... Ding.
Look,
Toast's
I
done.
literally just woke up. I need
I know.
I need food.
Making toast. Ding. Butter and toast. But this is similar to the design of the character Blue Angel, but it is still very strongly, I want to say, Trickstarified. You know, she's got, like, these big leaf, like, plates on her dress and, like, has the big, like, bead eyes that they all do. Got huge fucking headphones. So.
Okay, yeah, no, it's taking a while to load, so don't mind me. I'm literally just gonna go double check on my Stitzels. Be right back.
Yeah, go for it. So the first card, we may have talked about it before, but I think it means a lot more now that there's a searcher. The original Angel of Blue Tears was released in English in Maze of Memories in 23, and in the OCG was printed in the History Archive collection, which had a bunch of, you know, funny little anniversary cards in it, and was also reprinted in Duelists of Brilliance, which eventually got broken up into Maze of the Master. Like, a lot of the light support that was in there came over. Also, by the way, that means, because I didn't realize that until I was looking at it earlier, but that means that the character Blue Angel, Aoi or Sky, was in 2 separate Duelist packs. She got a double feature, because her archetype, Marincess, was one of the Water Duelist pack ones that nobody ever remembers, and then also she got to come back for the Light pack. That's very funny.
Double dipping.
Yeah. And Blue Tears is technically a sub-archetype. Ooh.
Sorry.
I wasn't expecting it. Because there are 2 of these, one of which they actually came up with later. It was in the Duelist pack, so that's why what's her face? Noble Angel doesn't say that she just searches 1. Sorry, Chad, I'm dealing with the existential dread of it's fucking we're saving as again. I don't want to do that. Why are they so close together?
Can't escape.
What a fine kettle of fish. All right. And I believe, again, Dallas isn't here, so I can't question him on it, but he's talked about some of the ideas of Vrains and not, which people can feel free to disagree with him on. Please, get in the comments. But there's like a whole thing with, like, you know, orphaned children and then the experiments to make AI based off of them. So I don't know if that's exactly why these are book related, but I believe in the anime, the character of Blue Angel, because like she bases her internet avatar off a book called Blue Angel. And then for the second card, Maiden, she switches her name to Blue Maiden. I guess when she realizes that her VTuber avatar is going to eat a copyright strike. I don't know. There's probably some, like, deeper themes involved in, like, the name switch. I personally am just, from a spiritual level, as a paper player, I can't agree, chat, because I like Trickstar, because I think it's a very interesting way to play a burn deck that also does link climbing. And unfortunately, Marincess is mostly just a generic Cyberse link climb deck, but water. So I have to spiritually disagree with whatever they decided to completely switch her archetype and theming for whatever reason. I guess they did decide they were doing an elemental thing, but still. So the original one, Angel of Blue Tears, is a normal spell that came out, like I said, several years ago. It says, target a face-up monster in the field. Its controller takes damage equal to the number of their cards in their hand times 200. Negate the target's effects until the end of this turn. If effect damage is inflicted, banish this card from your graveyard. Set a normal trap directly from your hand or deck. If set from the hand, it can be activated this turn. You can only use one effect per turn, and only once that turn. And then Maiden of Blue Tears is a trap that says, if your opponent special summons a monster you control, Link monster, target one of them, destroy it. If you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of its original attack. If effect damage is inflicted with this card in your graveyard, banish this card, target a normal spell in your graveyard or banishment, set it. It can't be activated this turn. You can use one effect per turn, only once that turn. So, I think the reason why they made Maiden a normal trap is so that they can have it target a normal spell and Angel targets it. If you're actually doing this in Trickstar, because thanks to Noble Angel, both of these cards are searchable, Angel of Blue Tears is basically, if you're going second, you can use this to cancel out an opponent's monster, you know, negate them, deal them a lot of damage, and then set a normal trap. The normal trap you're setting, Reincarnation, baby. Why would you not set Reincarnation? Make your opponent banish 5 cards from their hand, draw a whole shitload of new cards. Also, like I said, it is a targeted effect, but it is like a form of spot negation. That said, because you're playing Trickstar, you're usually trying to go first. Blue Tears is the one, ironically, I prefer much more to actually search in Trickstar. Because if you're going first, your opponent's probably special summoning some monsters, chat, like when they get to their turn. Like, you don't... despite the fact that you could, until they actually did ban Appo and Master Duel, you can play Trickstar as a deck where you put a bunch of materials on board and, like, make a high mat Appaloosa. That doesn't do anything for your deck, though, so don't do that. Instead, you build a board that has lots of novel interaction with your opponent and chip damage. Maiden of Blue Tears is another form of that chip damage because it's like, when your opponent special summons a monster, you destroy it, you inflict damage equal to half its original attack, and then later you can get back a normal spell, which you have several normal spells you might like in Trickstar. Your fusion spell, you know, your revival spell, butter and toast.
Pay no attention. Fuck you.
Too late. So Blue Tears is pretty good because, like I said, it's a card where just like you search it and set it, and then just once again your opponent has to play the game of like, okay, if I special summon this guy, is this the guy they're gonna blow up? That's also assuming that your opponent even bothers to read. Like, they might see you search Maiden of Blue Tears and just be like, I'm not reading all that.
Yeah.
But that means that it is time to yawn. Ugh, shit.
Suffer.
I am suffering a little. But it's time to move on, which means I gotta switch the graphics slightly. Marines, yes. Now, the Marincessors are, I mean, like, obviously different because they're water. But, they are weird. So, you can kind of draw connections between, like, Trickstar and then Marincess, because, like, some of the aquatic animals that they're based off of, they take their names and color schemes from, are, like, poisonous, but also some of them aren't. So, is not really doing a thing. You might say that some of them kind of have, like, idol costumes, but they're also not all of them. They definitely do not have as very strong on the band motif. So, yeah. Marincess, though, is probably, like, a word like Marin, which, you know, is a root word for a lot of stuff, and princess, obviously. Most of their names, you know, follow it along. Like, you know, French is literally Marincess, German Marinsessen, Marincessa, etc., you know, in both. This is a case where Spanish and Portuguese line up, though the pronunciation is probably slightly different. Interesting enough, in Chinese, in simplified Chinese, they translate this as Sea Crystal Girl. because there's a whole, like, Crystal Heart thing going on. But... oh, God, that's super big. I was going to post their logo, but it's, like, huge. Hold on. I gotta, like, transparent this out. So yes, they have a logo. It's a heart. The wiki seems to think that it's based on the necklace from Titanic. The heart of the sea diamond thing. No, a little bigger to doom you down there. There we go. That's a pretty good lineup. It's pretty good. That's pretty lined up with where my chat box is. All right, you're banished there, chat. But I mean, it's kind of the vogue for both. But lots of DX. Sorry, do want to copy the field spell for a second there. Lots of decks in the Reigns era though have the field spell. As you be knowing, chat. So here is the field spell, which is Marine Shesh Battle Ocean. So, it's an ocean of battle, a battle ocean. Why are the princesses battle oceaners? Don't know. Don't ask questions. But actually, this reminds me. Marincess does have a semi-recurring gimmick, which is somewhat unique, though not entirely unique, as even Access Code Talker, it doesn't actually equip himself, but, he, like, targets a guy. Borreload Savage Dragon, equips, as does the new Borreload. So, like, there were a couple of decks that, like, put their toes in, like, equip / pretending to equip effects, but this is a thing that Marincess does very regularly, which is their monsters equip to each other to just get a way to get, like, extra effects on board and extra material. So Battle Ocean says all Marincesses you control gain 200 attack. Each one gains 600 attack for each Marincess card equipped to it. So it's like 800 minimum, and then if you get more, it can be a lot of attack. Sorry, we're sneezing. Ugh. I vacuumed, like, several times over the past couple of days. You'd think I'd have gotten everything by now, chat. But yeah, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm working out. I just sneezed.
Help, he's in the water.
I'm under the water. No, we are talking about Marincess. Monsters you control in the EMZ that were link summoned using Crystal Heart are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. You'll see what that means later, but they have they got a link monster, which is based off of the whole anime AI stuff. But there's a little link too that's kind of like an extender, which is Crystal Heart. So if you have Battle Ocean, anything you use Crystal Heart as material makes a link monster that's unaffected. If you link summon a Marincess to the EMZ, you can equip 3 Marincess link monsters in your graveyard with different names to it. Which means it gains a shitload of attack, because remember, this field spell says a Marincess equipped to a monster gives it 600 attack for each. So you can see there that, like I said, Marincess has its own unique gimmick with this equipping sort of stuff, but it is very much more in the line of a lot of other Vrains era decks, where it is a link spam deck, where primarily your idea is to make 1 or 2 really big-ass link monsters, preferably in your EMZ, at least, with the way Battle Ocean works. And then you beat up your opponent. These came out in late Vrains packs, kind of across mostly 2019 and 2020, though a few a little earlier, a few a little later. We're just going to be hitting them up, kind of like all in a blob when they first came out, and then, as I mentioned earlier, they were also in the water duelist pack. So, also, I apologize if my rate of speak slowed down a little. I'm like literally in real time. Like I'm becoming more congested, and it's annoying because I'm talking.
Oh no.
I feel like I've like accidentally, despite the fact that I took a 24-hour allergy pill, I feel like I've like metabolized it already after only being up for 8 or 9 hours. Ugh. Yes, I'm admitting I got up at sometime around noonish. It was cold last night, chat. It's still cold. It's 38 degrees now. 38 degrees burger. Anyway, this is Marin Ses Basila Lima. Sorry, I had to. There's a Basila Lima. I had to read that a couple of times because it's got repeating consonants.
My excuse for sleeping in was that I had to change disposable curtains at the hospital last night. So your arms are always stretched up trying to get to the hooks.
Yeah, I bet.
But in regards to what's happening on screen, I like the weird curls she has for the dress, like the little tentacle-like appendages there. Neat.
Yeah, so
cute.
I will... almost all of these are named after... I think actually all of them are named after... Well, no, Crystal Heart is just Crystal Heart, but, most of them are named after, actual sea creatures, so this is what she's named after, the Basila Lima, which is a... I know I took it away a little fast, but it's because it's big. You can look it up. The Limaria, as well, are a genus of mollusks, aka clams, which are called file shells or file clams. And they have thin shells, and you get to they kind of let their valves out, which is what the little tentacles are. So that's why she's got kind of that kind of orangey color, and then very small little literal clamshell dress with the little tendrils drooping down beneath. So we draw on all of these out here. Basila Lima is a Water Cyberse 4, 600 attack, 2100 defense. If monster control will be destroyed by card effect, banish this card instead. Each of the following effects once per turn. Banish a Marincess Trap, add a Marincess Trap with a different name. If this card is banished, target a face-up monster you control gains 600 attack. I don't, like I said, I have always been more of a Trickstar guy than a Marincess guy. I know there are quite a few people who really like Marincess. Because they are, at least trying to stand out aesthetically, despite being Cyberse. These are mostly, aquatic women, trying to stand out a little. You can kind of see, though, where they're going for here, which is, this is a pretty decent card effect. It's got a damage substitution effect, and also, the following effect is once per turn. By the way, her Banish to prevent destruction effect is not once per turn, so if you dump 3 of these in the graveyard, you can do it multiple times. But she also has an attack modulation effect, so it prevents an effect destruction and then gets bigger, which makes sense because presumably the way you're building this deck is your opponent is going to try and, remove your big monster in the EMZ with something like a Lightning Storm or Raigeki or Dark Hole or whatever. Dark Hole, very popular in this time period before they fully unbanned Raigeki and Lightning Storm got printed, and those became more premier going second cards. But it's oh, you tried to destroy me? 1, no. 2, fuck you. 600 attack point bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And Marincess do have a sub-theme, which also is why I think the original Angel of Blue Tears, the normal spell, searches you a normal trap, because obviously Trickstar does have a couple of really good normal traps, but Reincarnation, obviously the one everybody remembers. Marincess have a lot more normal traps. So they have a whole trap thing here. She basically is Trap Trick on legs. And 2100 defense, not terrible. Pretty sure this is one you'll still be playing. And now, chat, get your jokes ready. Ask why. Why do we get the jokes ready? Because it's Marincess Blue Tang, which obviously many of you know the jokes because that does abbreviate to MBT, which is not what MBT is actually named for, but he does, I think he's on record as liking Marincess.
Good.
But you probably should also be able to get this because Marinsa's Blue Tang is named after Parcanthorus, a.k.a. the Blue Tang. Also known as the... Oh, you've got an update you want to do outside of normal hours. No shit, Windows. I think I haven't noticed you being fucking slow today. Sorry, that was me being bitter. I mentioned earlier to chat that we had to push stream back a little because OBS was being super slow in opening. It's because the computer decided to set up an update. At least Windows is nice enough to tell me that it will do the restart part out. What I was saying is, you probably know what a blue tang is. They're super iconic fish. They're also known as royal blue tangs, hippo tangs, blue surgeon fish, because that's kind of their class. And if you don't immediately recognize it, this is the species that Dory is in Finding Nemo.
I see it.
Yeah, so color scheme is very good for that. With the gloves and stuff, because again, this thing's also alternatively known as the Regal Blue Tang. So, is kind of a very regal look, which matches, of course, our thumbnail. Also, hey, guess what? This card's good. She's another level 4 Water Cybers, 1500 attack, 200 defense. If this card's normal or special, send a Marincess monster from your deck to your graveyard, except Blue Tang. If this card sent to the graveyard as link material for a water monster, excavate 3 cards from your deck. If you do, add an excavated Marincess card to your hand, shuffle the rest back. You can only use each effect once per turn. This is good. This is a good starter or extender. Foolish Burial on summon, and then if you link her off, which you're going to do, this is a link deck. The only other thing you might do is overlay. I don't think there's any in-archetype Xyz monsters. Actually, I'm 99% sure there's none unless I have missed them. There are some generic, rank 4 water Xyz you could be playing. Back in the day, you could play Bahamut Shark. Also, back in the day, you could play Abyss Dweller. There are a couple of non-water, Cyber supporting Xyz monsters as well. But you're going to link off Blue Tang, and then you get to excavate 3 and just add a Marincess. All around, very, very solid card. I wonder, did Konami specifically choose to make Blue Tang good because they're like, shit, this is the one everybody's going to recognize as being from Finding Nemo. And if you think that's a little funny for a Japanese company, you don't understand, chat. The only people who love Disney Pixar as much, if not more so, than American Disney adults, Japanese people. There is a reason why Tokyo Disney hasn't exploded. Despite the fact that several of the foreign Disney parks have not gone as planned. Sorry, some of these outfits, they're very creative, but like I said, the wiki tried to be like, oh yeah, no, they're wearing idol-like outfits, and I'm like, I mean, yes, you might put on these costumes for a water-themed idol event, but also the idols don't do enchantment under the sea dances, chat. I don't know. I don't think I've seen a lot of, underwater-themed idol performances. This is Marincess Crown Tail, and like I said, yes, parts of this are very idol-coded, but also, this girl could be a bad guy or a good guy in some sort of water-themed magical girl show. I guess I'll say good guy because, she doesn't have, extra long painted nails, but, girl's wearing a bodysuit under her, fintail dress,
Weird short in the dock. This isn't censored, is it? She's just.
No.
This is how she came out.
Yeah, this is just how she is. Probably looking a lot like the look from the anime. This looks like a very anime pose. And if you don't know, hey, this chick is named Crown Tail. That's one of the names for the beta fish, also known as the Siamese fighting fish, etc., etc. I didn't show an image of a blue tang because, like, the moment I said it was Dorian finding Nemo, you knew. But this is the image Wikipedia has for the fighting fish, and it's like, yeah, that's the color scheme. This is another case, much like the very feminine-looking Brotherhood of the Fire Fist peacock, who is also still called Brotherhood. I'm pretty sure the colorful fighting ones are the males in betas. Oh, actually, here's an even better one. Yeah, Crown Tail is a specific color scheme of beta fish. And then that's... yeah, you can kind of see it there. That's much more like it, so yeah. So they have a lot of different variations of like color and pattern.
Well, this isn't the first time Konami has just said, fuck it, female.
So, Crown Tail, which, by the way, Crown Tail, as she's written, has a space in her name. When you talk about the type of fish, it's all one word. But she's a level 5 water cyber, 600 attack, 2300 defense. Not a very good fighting fish. During damage calc of a monster battles, quick effects send one of their Marincess from your hand to the graveyard. Marincess monster. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, damage is halved. At the start of the damage step, if an opponent's monster attacks, banish this card from your graveyard. You take no battle damage. Less than or equal to the total number of Marincess link monsters in your graveyard times 1,000. Only use each effect once per turn. Anime bullshit card. Bad card. And why do I say anime bullshit card, chat? So yes, quick effect, you can summon her from hand by sending another card from hand, but then she doesn't redirect the attack, and all she does is have the battle damage. She doesn't even stop the damage or the attack. And then if your opponent's monster attacks, she can make it so that, like, you take no damage. So, like, if they, like, dark hole your board full of Marincess links, you can be like, okay, wise guy, I have a shitload of link monsters in my graveyard. I don't take any damage. This card's bad. This card's very bad. Literally, you could just play fucking Battle Fader or Gores and have a better card than this. Do not play this. I'm kind of surprised because I think her design is kind of neat. But no, this is anime bullshit card. My standards, chat, for what a card that is like a battle tricker does, like in the battle phase, so beyond this. Like, we should absolutely, like, you should be doing, you know, like I said, preventing the battle damage entirely. I don't know, ending the fucking battle phase instantly. Like, redirecting the attack to her at least, and she's got a large defense pool. Like, oh, I get to special summon a guy, go, go -2, because presumably I'm still losing my monster, and I have to discard a monster to summon her to just get halved battle damage? No. Fucking, I don't know. Is there a water honest, chat? Play that instead. Actually, it's funny, because we were talking about Trickster earlier, and Trickster do have an in-archetype honest, and are also light monsters, so you can just play honest. Next up, though, Marincess Mandarin. You might think to yourself, oh, like the orange? No. This is named after a sea creature. It is spelled the same way, but it's named after the mandarin fish. And I'm going to assume... could be a couple different fish, actually. There's a lot of... There's like 4 or 5 different species named that can be known as the mandarin fish. I'm going to guess it's probably the mandarin goby, because that's very colorful, and they are found around the Ryukyu Islands, too near Australia. Mandarin fish, also known as the Mandarin dragonet or the Mandarin goby. But, you know, very brightly colored fish. Yeah, and I think you can kind of... The photo's a little weird, but you can kind of see in this little thumbnail photo that it's got kind of that orange to blue gradient she's got going on. So, yeah. Anyway, Mandarin, pretty simple. Like I said, the color scheme you can kind of follow with that cool blue to orange shift. You can tell by how small she is that she is a level 1 Water Cybers, 100 attack, 100 defense. If you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card's in your hand or graveyard, target a Water Link monster you control. Special summon this card to a zone this monster points to. With banish it when it leaves the field. You only use this effect once per turn. Good card. Generic Extender. I'm pretty sure Marincess has several cards that do this, so I don't know if you play explicitly Mandarin. But she's a good card to play, and it works from both hand and graveyard, so, you know, foolishing off Blue Tang does something, etc., etc. Like, that's another thing that Marincess does a lot of, which Trickstar also did, which is where your Link monsters point actually matter. For Marincess, it's usually, like, you can special summon them to a zone a Link monster points to. With Trickstar, obviously, it's usually, like, effects like when a monster is summoned to a zone this card points to do a thing. So it's kind of, you know, different angles, but got a few different things. Yeah, this art is technically censored, but it's, like, such a fucking milquetoast censor that I'm not going to bother grabbing the uncensored art. This is Marincess Pascalis. The only thing I think they changed, did not do anything about her like weird thigh windows. It's they, again, as usual, erased some of the lines around her, not even cleavage because she's wearing a fucking shirt, but they just de-emphasized the outline of her boobs a little. I don't think they, like, shrunk them or anything. They just, you know, scooched out some of the lines. Yes. Specifically, this refers to a species of Pseudanthius, which are, groupers and sea bass. And I would assume that, the Pascalis species, like, subspecies, the type, is, this color scheme. What I'm learning from this chat is somebody on the Vrains team really likes aquariums. Because, like, most of these, I think, are, like, good either at home or go to visit aquarium fish. I will say, like, it's very weird, like, looking at this. Like, it's obviously is water-themed because she's got both the scarf that kind of forms the fins and the tail going on there with, like, on the dress. But also, like, I don't know, this looks like she could be, like, a generic extra in, like, you know, any anime. Like, if she was in, like, a mecha anime, because mecha animes have to have idols for some reason. Not for some reason, it's because of Macross, but, you know, there's stuff going on there. Lots of mecha anime actually have idols for some reason. Is there some kind of deeper commentary? Deeper commentary about the military-industrial complex and also the way the Japanese record industry works? I don't fucking know.
It does make me think of that meme I saw of, like, you know, clasping hands, and it's just mecha fans, magical girl fans, was it disregarding people who's only ever watched the popular series and doesn't get the genre?
Yeah, no, that's one that came up. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was some other context. I think it was about video game genres, but somebody brought up, like, oh yes, no, I was watching somebody talk about it might have been a Twitter thread. Some people were talking about Expedition 33 and, like, they like it, but also, like, people are, like, glazing it so much because like, they've basically never played a JRPG since the original Final Fantasy VII. And it's like, I've seen several people compare it that Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is kind of becoming, like, the Evangelion of JRPGs. Which, yeah, by the way, I do think you can call... I know it's not made in Japan, but you can call it a JRPG, but you have to put an apostrophe because it's JRPG. Because it's fresh. But it's very much based in JRPG tropes. But, like I said, people have been comparing it to, like, Ava because it's like, oh, it's like... It is a little darker and headier than a lot of other previous examples in the genre, but also now it's, like, the one that every fucking normie has heard of, and it's like... guys, it's not really that groundbreaking. It is pretty cool, but, like, mostly people in the RPG space are excited because, like, it's a throwback to a style of game that is not as popular these days, that people are missing, not doing brand new things. Even their, like, active, like, inputs in the middle of turn-based battle isn't that new. The director of the FF7 remakes was also the director on the 13 series, like, for battles and stuff. And people explicitly were like, hey, you're doing this crossover shit with Expedition 33. They've got, like, active reaction commands in their middle of their battle. How do they feel about that? And he's like, yes, we tried that in Final Fantasy 13. Was it 2 or 3? I think it was 3 because it was Lightning Returns. And they were just like, you know, it didn't seem to get as much appreciation then, but we're glad somebody thought it was cool. And it's just like, yeah, nothing new under the sun, babe. The only difference is that you didn't like Final Fantasy 13, 2, or 3, chat. Actually, that's not true. I think a decent number of people liked. Was it 2? I think it was 2. 13 was kind of mid. People liked 2. 3... yeah. And then they stopped. All that to say that, like, I like Pascalus's design here, but also she's definitely kind of, like, generic. She's an okay extender. I don't think I see her a lot. It makes me wonder if they have... Because this is an anime archetype, much like Trickstar, I said this earlier, there are so many bad names in this deck, and even suboptimal names, that, you can shave a lot of names and just play the good shit. So, like, it may be entirely that despite reading her effect, as I'm about to read out to you, that Pascalus sounds pretty good. I'm not really familiar with her, so it may just be that there are cards that do this better in the archetype already. She's a level 4, 1200 attack, 2000 defense. I don't know why all these are level 4s. Like I said, were they planning on giving Sky Owie a fucking Xyz thing that they never did? I don't know. I know Vrains did have some production trouble, so I wouldn't be surprised, but it's weird to me that they all have, like, fairly consistent levels. They did have, like, one level 1 and a level 5, but we've got, like, 2 or 3 level 4s already, and it's just like, is this just so you can make Bahamut Shark and Summon totally awesome? Don't know. Anyway, Paracelsus, 1200 attack, 2000 defense. If this card is normal or special, special summon a Marincus from your hand in defense position, except Pascalus during the main phase, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard. Banish this card from your graveyard, target a Marincus spell trap, add it back. You can use each effect once per turn. Both of these effects are good. Like I said, I don't feel like I see her a lot in deck lists, so I can only assume that, like, there are just so many better cards that she's probably played of as, like, a one of these days. And you just have so much fucking extension, it doesn't matter. So, next meme. Throwback for you, chat.
God.
This one is pretty simply named. You can easily figure out what species she's supposed to be. This is Marincus, seahorse. Just all seahorses. Fuck you. It's her shoulder pad.
Oh God. I know it's so derpy looking.
Yeah, no, her armlets also kind of have, like, the spinies, like seahorses often have, like, bony ridges and stuff. It's a little weird. Like, her shoulder pad is just a little too, like, realistic to a seahorse to take seriously, because it's still a little cartoony. I don't know what's going on there. Also, yes, chat, while I am not a Gundam expert, I was exactly thinking of Lucas Klein from Gundam Seed when I said it looked like Pascalus, which also has a hard cuss, well, callus, but, you know, has some Latinate sound in there. Was there somebody on the Vrains team who was also a Gundam fan, in addition to being a fan of aquariums?
I mean, I would have put it past them.
So Seahorse does kind of buck the trend I was talking about in that she's a 3, so we are getting a little diversity in levels, but she's a level 3 Water Cybers, 1400 attack, 1000 defense. You can just special summon this card from your hand to a zone where Incest points to. You can only special summon Seahorse once per turn this way. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a water from your hand to a zone this points to. You can only use this effect once per turn. I don't feel like I've seen Seahorse a lot. Like, she doesn't seem familiar, and I've seen, like, several people attempt Marincess combos. Like, there's, it showed up in, like, Doug Zeef's Saga series a couple of times, shit like that. Different progression-type series and stuff, and even on, like, Ladder, because obviously they did get Legacy support we're going to talk about later. But I don't feel like Seahorse doesn't seem super familiar to me. But again, probably a name you play at least one of, because she's just pretty generic extension. I'm also noticing a sub-theme that I don't remember from later cards, so they may have, like, weaned off it a little. But you're noticing, Chad, a lot of these girls have abilities to banish themselves from the graveyard later, so you can kind of, like, get advantage back. But still, good card. Like I said, I'm just kind of surprised that I feel like I haven't seen her in a lot of lists. But we are moving on to the extra deck soon, so it's probably one you play at least one of.
Yeah. Probably, like, it's good, but, like, considering all the other cards, not good enough to warrant a spot.
Like, I think the only card that has been straight up bad so far we've seen, knock on wood, is Crown Tail is just, like, no. But, like, you could for sure you play 3 Blue Tang, but, like, you can probably play, like, 3 Basilima, play some number of Seahorse, probably play a few Pascalis, And this one is, unfortunately, even more, like, anime generic extra here. This is Sea Star. The star part is clearly her hair, though that could also be a helmet she's wearing. Either way, not very flattering, not a huge fan. The pantaloons are also bad. This may just be because I just watched the State of Play JP, but this looks like a rejected Dragon Quest design. And the reason why I'm not familiar with this one is I did knock on wood. This one is also bad.
Yep.
Not just the design, but also, like, her effect is not that good. Like, it can be good. I did joke about if they've got an honest, but it's not a quick effect. So
it's not.
No, Marincess Sea Star, level 2 Water Cybers effect. 800 attack, 400 defense. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Target a Marincess you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. You can use this effect up to twice per turn. But it's not a quick effect and not during damage calc. So, no. Bad card. Literally just play other cards.
Did they not give it the quick effect because of the whole banishing from graveyard stuff?
No, I don't know. Because, like, it is just discard her, basically, and then give him Marincess 8. So, like, there's no reason why you couldn't have made that a quick effect, even if you make it only in damage step. Like, I don't know. It's another weird battle trick that, like, this deck probably won in the anime, but, like, in real life is just like, no. Just play your field spell and just play, play combos to equip monsters. I'm beginning to see why Marincess is, like, been borderline playable as, like, one of those, like, third best deck type decks, but never quite went over the top because, like, this is it for main deck monsters through the 2019 and 2020 zone. We're into the links now. Starting with Blue Slug. But, it turns out that you probably had to play some generic water extenders or some generic Cybers extenders, which is not great for you because I do think you can waterlock yourself in this deck. Or just suck it up and play some suboptimal cards. Luckily, they do get a couple of new main decks, so, like, I'm pretty sure you've got some room for the ratios.
You got some options.
Yeah. Yeah, no, literally, I mentioned waterlocks. Literally, a waterlock is on Blue Slug. There it is, chat. I found it. I found the lock. So, she's called Blue Slug, like a blue sea slug. She does not look like a blue sea slug. So, here's what a blue sea slug looks like. Make sure that's in frame. Okay, it is in frame.
I mean, oh, they could have actually done something pretty cool with that.
This is a festive sea slug, which has the actual, like, coloration. Is that in frame? Yeah, it's mostly in frame. Probably gonna put that a little lower. So, she's called Blue Slug, but she clearly has the color scheme of a festive sea slug, who is very festive.
Mm.
So it's a little weird, but yeah, got some fun designs going on.
Personally, not a fan of it.
Also, I guess the reason why they would pick the festive sea slug is it's a nudibranch from Tsushima Island, the Korea Strait, and Japan.
Mm.
So, like I said, a lot of Japanese specific, like Sea of Japan and the like specific water life, which makes it very funny because, like, obviously in the Japanese version of the anime where everybody has Japanese names, you know, she's called Aoi. Is Vrains, like most Yu-Gi-Oh animes that gets dubbed, supposed to be set in like America or something, or some fictitious America land? Because again, very specific animals to waters around Japan. Anyway, Blue Slug is a Link 1. She's got a back, just the down-facing arrow. 1500 attack, by the way. Good for a Link 1. Especially because, like I said, this is... I don't know if I want to call Marincess an OTK deck, because they do actually have a lot of... they have a couple of interesting interactions, like they have a lot of back row and stuff. But they do also get big. So, 1500 as something you can manipulate with further cards, not terrible. But her materials are any one level 4 or lower Marincess. If this card's Link Summon, target a Marincess monster in your graveyard except Blue Slug, add it to your hand. You can't special summon the rest of this turn except water. You can only Link Summon Blue Slug once per turn. Very good Link 1 starter. You know, lets you add back a card. Several of your cards summoned to zones Link monsters point to. So then you just, you know, add back, summon back. But you are Water locked. Do we love him? What hair? Blue Slug, Coral Anemone. I know I'm spoiling a chat, but it's Coral Anemone next. It's alphabetical order. Sorry, I'm looking at this blown up, and, like, sometimes when you're playing Fail Portrayal, playing like it's a game show, you see a card blown up and you're just like, huh! Other times you're like, oh, neat. This is kind of like a huh. Well, she's called Coral Anemone, so she definitely looks like an anemone, a sea anemone specifically, because anemone is also the normal name of just a flower. But, like, is it good that she looks like a sea anemone, chat? I don't know.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know if I want to say it's bad, but it's weird. I will say what I'm not a huge fan of is, not that many of them don't, but this one has a very generic anime woman face. Like, and
actually, you know what?
She has a super generic face, and then she has a really weird costume.
You know what this gives me vibes of? No, actually, no. I'm not going to compare this to Digimon. I'm going to say this is like a villain you see on the Super Sentai team.
Yeah. That I think works. That should be another thing I should have said about Crown Tail. That's like I can't tell if she's a protagonist or an antagonist in a tokusatsu. Yeah.
Oh, you know,
Anemone
a Sailor
also has
Moon
similar
villain.
vibes. Yes. No. And I don't want to say that's like wrong. I don't know. Like, are the Vrain's characters kind of supposed to be like anti-heroes? They're like hackers.
Do you think I was gonna reference Lanamon?
No, not necessarily, because this doesn't look like that. But also, there's a gajillion Digimon, and you could just lie to me and tell me anything looks like a Digimon, and I think I'd believe you.
I could tell you a small circle with legs looks like a Digimon, because that's true.
That is actually true. But, like, that's something that I pointed out with some of the trick stars, right? Those girls are light fairies, but some of them are very, like, punky or gothy and have, like, literal, like, droplets of poison worked into their designs because they're almost all of them named after poison flowers. And an anemone, by the way, most of those are poisonous animals. They might technically be venomous. I don't know. Is it more like they're... I think you might technically count an anemone as venomous. I think their poison is for hunting as opposed to protection. So, like, thinking that we're maybe a little weirdly villain-coded is not wrong. But then, like I said, very pleasant, generic anime woman face. Anyway, Coral Anemone, Link 2. She's got kind of an L shape to her arrows. She's got left, center, and then bottom. Link 2 with 2,000 attack. Pretty good for Link 2. She's semi-generic. Any 2 water monsters does it. So I guess you can play some generic water extenders in this deck. Do not play Barrier Statue of Wet. If you do, you are a criminal. We will be sending you to Thought Jail. Thought Jail is just like that one episode of Star Trek where O'Brien experiences an entire lifetime of torment and then reveals it's all in his head and has to deal with the ennui of still being alive. Anyway, Coral Anemone says you can target one water monster with 1,500 or less attack in your graveyard. Special summon it to a zone this card points to, so having both down or left arrow means that you can do some stuff with zones. And then you can't special summon it to water monsters, so this card's sent from the field to the graveyard. Target a Marincess card in your graveyard except Coral Anemone, add it back to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. So, multiple forms of extension. Summon a water back to a zone this points to, and then you also, if sent from the field to the graveyard, aka if linked off, you can add back a Marincess. So they've got a lot of good recovery effects. I also kind of feel like, on the one hand, this is why they have that banishment sub-effect, because that means you like have to pick and choose your resources. You know, if you banish them, you can't summon them back later. But also it does mean that there are going to be times where you might fish some of your girlies out of the graveyard and then miss their banish effects for later. Anyway, this card is very important. Probably should have talked about it at the top of the Link monsters, but I'm EP and really don't care. This is Crystal Heart. Crystal Hato. So, there is a G-Golem Crystal Heart, which is very funny. And then they upgraded this one later. One of the new monsters they got in support a little bit later that we'll talk about. I think their first big Link 4 is Wonder Heart, which is just this weird woman, but a real and not like a spooky water ghost. The trivia page doesn't really like clarify any of that. I assume this is probably related to some of the Water Ignis stuff. And then also the G-Golem guy is the Earth Ignis who has a crush on the Water Ignis, I think. Water AI. This design is good, but it's very minimal, and I feel like even if I didn't know that there was like a lot of like anime shenanigans going on, I would look at this card and go, there's clearly some sort of symbolism here, because this card, other than that she has a giant crystal heart in it, doesn't look anything like any of the other Marincesses. Like, she's a weird water ghost. But I did mention before with the field spell. Sorry, I dropped my mouse pad. My wrist rest mouse pad. I've put it back. Don't worry. Got to support your wrists. But the field spell says that if you make a water link monster in your EMZ with Crystal Heart, they're unaffected. Crystal Heart herself is a 0 attack, but does say also 2 water monsters. Does say unaffected by your opponent's monster effects while in the EMZ. So you've got kind of a whole thing there. During the damage step, if this card battles your opponent's monster, if that monster is unaffected by card effects except its own. When this card or your Marincess Link monster's card points to his target for an attack, send a Marincess from your hand to the graveyard. for that battle. Your monster can't be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage. Much better battle effect. Why do they even have Crown Tail when their Link to Crystal Heart actually does the battle trick better? Discard, you only like discard one and you take no damage and can't be destroyed by battle. Great card. And incentivizes you to keep her in the EMZ. The unaffected by card effects except its own is a little weird, but can mean that if your opponent does their own kind of like attack modulation effect, you can just be like, nope. But yeah, very solid card. I'm pretty sure they still play it in the combo. They've got a lot of good Link monsters. Okay, this one's interesting, but I think this girl is actually like she's definitely in some spell trap card arts. This is Marincess Great Bubble Reef. You may notice that's not a sea creature. Correct. She's probably named after the Great Barrier Reef.
I mean,
what the bubble?
She looks pretty regal.
Yeah. Her haircut and general face design is kind of similar to the Marincess Duelist's childhood friend, who was the template for the water AI Aqua. That was the water Ignis. Again, apparently there's a whole thing with, like, you know, we decided to train our computers of dueling on the psyches of orphaned children or something. Stop doing that. Stop building torment nexuses, chat. But it does make sense that this is, you know, part of the iconic setup. And like you said, she is very regal, you know, calling her Great Reef, whether it's Great Bubble or not, very good. Got a little bit of the kind of like, you know, Journeying to the Dragon Palace vibes. Are they the Dragonians in like Okami? I think that's what they're called. The Dragon Palace people. Me out here forgetting my fucking Okami lore. But yeah, I definitely got that kind of vibe. Again, very, very, very Japanese under the water. Great Bubble Reef is a Link 4 Water Cybers. Her arrows are a little weird because she's got left, right, and back, and then the left corner. But still, pretty good setup for a variety of things. She is 2+ water monsters, so you can be Link climbing. Once per turn, during each standby phase, you can banish a water from your graveyard or a face-up field. Draw a card. Each time a monster is banished face-up, this card gains 600 attack until the end of the turn. You can send a water monster into the graveyard, special summon one of your banished Marincesses. You can use each effect once per turn. So that you can send a water monster to special summon a banished Marincess is not a quick effect. But otherwise, pretty decent effects. She's 2,600, I think I forgot to say. So she's already pretty decent. She gains 600 if you banish a card, and during each standby phase, you can banish a card to draw one. So you've got, like, extra cycling. I kind of feel like their other Link 4s are pretty good, so I think that you might cut Bubble Reef these days because she is a little slow, but still very decent card and actually gives you a way to get back your banished monsters. Which chatters, if you don't know, if you're playing a deck that banishes and you don't have a way to get your banished monsters back, you're gonna cry. Because trust me, I've played a lot of them. Dear Konami, stop printing decks that vanish for cost that don't have a way to get their banished monsters back. Don't make me fucking play Graveyard from a Different Dimension. I fucking hate having to do that. We were doing that shit as far back as GX with getting heroes back after Miracle Fusion. It sucked. But yeah, Great Bubble Reef, cool looking card, and also again pretty decent. This is a card I recognize her name, so this one has definitely played some. We're definitely back to the, again, you could play the fucking, you know, Super Sentai or Magical Girl game. This is Marbled Rock. She's named after the marbled rockfish, which is one of them spiky fish. Very spiny. And they are venomous. Oh, commonly cultured in Japan. Yeah, makes sense. But that's why she's so spikety. But also absolutely has magical girl villain nails. Which again is weird, because I feel like she's got, like, again, normal anime woman eyes. She doesn't have evil anime woman eyes. How you draw eyes is important, chat. Sorry, I'm fighting the congestion a little. Loth also, by the way, did show me the circle with legs Digimon. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's a ball who's utterly featureless.
I love my Maimon. He's so stupid.
So, Marble Rock is one of your Link 3s. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this card's still played to this day. Her design is pretty distinct. Again, don't know if it's a good one, but it's also not terrible. It's just kind of weird. Maybe people will hit me up in the comments later about, like, why, like, again, some of these designs are, like, vaguely villainous for characters who are supposed to be our protagonists, and as far as I know, don't, like, again, it's fucking Yu-Gi-Oh!, so it's not like they're, like, you know, deep-cut anti-heroes or anything. They play a children's card game for a living. But, Marbled Rock is a Link 3. She's got the T-shaped arrows, 2,500 attack, which is pretty good for a Link 3. 2+ water monsters. Target on a Marincess card in your graveyard except Marble Rock. Add it back to your hand. You only use specified ones per turn. When opponent's monster declares an attack, send a Marincess from your hand to the graveyard. For that battle, your monsters can't be destroyed in battle, and you take no battle damage. Again, pretty good battle fading effects. Do not know why you would ever play Crown Tail, but Marbled Rock is just a pretty good Link 3 to get into because she, again, fetches a guy back from graveyard, adds back to hand. She has arrows that point to, so you can do arrow stuff. Not much to add.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I don't want to comment on her design.
Is it too sorry, I was going to say, is it too spiky for you? But because it's us, I immediately thought, is this too easy for you?
She makes me think of an Amazoness warrior underwater.
Yeah, no, that is kind of a thing I could say, because she's got kind of like a weird... It's not like really armor, because it looks painted on, but it's definitely shiny like it's armor, so she's like wearing, you know, skimpy armor like an Amazoness, but she's definitely sea-themed. The aesthetics are a little muddled. This next card, chat, you can probably tell exactly what sea creature it is before you even say its name, especially if you've been playing Death Stranding 2. But this is Marincess Sea Angel, named after a sea angel, which are, you know, those weird little sea slugs that live super deep and are translucent. In case you can't tell from this one being small, this is a Link 1. I feel like how tall the ladies are is directly proportional to how big their Link rating is. This is just like a cute sea angel themed costume. I do like that her hair kind of keeps the theme too. But other than that, she's just kind of chilling. What was I gonna say? Link 1, 1000 attack. Left-facing arrow. There's a lot of, like, left bias in these Marincesses. 1 level 4 lower Marincess. This card's Link Summon. Add a Marincess spell from your deck to your hand. You can only Link Summon Sea Angel once per turn. That means she is the Link 1 that searches the field spell, but also can search any of your other spells. Also, it occurs to me, this is another thing that's very weird. By the way, chat, I've also realized something. So, Marincesses don't have a fusion monster, which is weird because Trickstar had one fusion monster and got another through legacy support, and they had a fusion spell. So when she switches to water, she just decides to ditch fusion, and we just don't replace it with another extra deck summoning type. Very funny. Especially because the water ad ignister is the ritual one. Kind of, I don't know. I like I said, I don't know a lot about Vrains, haven't watched it myself. I do know they had some budgeting issues, like, in some of their seasons and, like, pacing everything out. Makes me wonder if maybe some of their plans for, like, character decks and themes didn't get played out, and as a result, there's just some dropped balls. So now we show, I mentioned her before, this is their other link for, this is Marincess Wonder Heart. Wonder Heart. Which is Crystal Heart, but a woman. Not really drawing on any specific sea creature as far as I know. But she has design elements for several ones. You know it's a proper episode of Fail Portrayal because her feet are very fucked up. But she does have a huge sword that is also a flower, it looks like, or possibly a trumpet. What? And also, she has kind of beady little eyes like a Trickstar. So this is like the ultimate kit bash of like all the aesthetic themes together.
Yeah, the fucking figure is all over the place.
Yeah, that's what I was. I mean, so she is. This is like I said, this is Crystal Heart, but actually like a physical lady. I assume that's probably why she looks kind of like almost like robotic in a way, or very alien. Like she's got very spindly limbs. Again, the face and the eyes are a little different. Her feet are like certainly not organic looking. So it's very, very strange. But this is another Link 4. 2400 attack. She's got left and right, and then the 2 back corner arrows. 2+ Link monsters. Once per battle during damage calc, if this card battles an opponent's monster, especially one of your Marincess cards equipped to this card can't be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage. Equip that special summon monster to this card during the end phase. If this card in its own possession is destroyed by opponent's cards, present a Link 3 or lower Marincess from your graveyard. This is another pretty common one of your Link 4s to go into. I think compared to, what was it? Coral Anemone? Yeah, as like one of your biggest's, your big bungilies, or even Great Bubble Reef. Wonderheart stays in the deck more because she interacts with that effect of Battle Ocean to equip your own guys and unequip them, basically. While also, like, having Recovery has a floating effect to get back a Link 3. If she gets blown up. But their new Link 4 is also pretty strong. They do have some spell traps, which are usually in the genre of Marincesses doing things. This one's interesting. Sorry. So the name of this in this trap card in the TCG's Marincess Cascade, it was Marincess Cataract in the OCG, because while Cataract can refer to an eye thing, it is also a thing to do with like water irrigation. Don't know why they changed it. Both do start with C. Anyway, this is a trap card that says, banish any number of Marincess Link monsters you control until your next standby phase. Target one face-up monster on the field that gains attack you Link rating of those banished times 300 to the end of this turn. And if you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess, you can activate it from your hand. It's a battle trick. In case you haven't picked up on it now, chat, at least in its first wave of support, Marincess is like a weird hybrid deck that can go first or second. I don't feel like it really has a huge ability to play through disruptions to be a proper, like, board breaker OTK deck, but it seems more like you build a board of big water ladies on your turn, and then you basically dare your opponent, hey, you're not going to out my board. My monsters will be big. But we just see Marbled Rock, Anemone, and Blue Slug here. You know, doing some kind of generic power pose. This one's got pretty good art. Kind of like more action shotty. This is Marincess Current. It's another normal trap. It says when a Marincess Link monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the Link rating of that monster you control times 400. Then if you destroy an opponent's Link monster, or you control the Link to or higher Marincess, inflict damage equal to that monster's Link rating times 500. You can activate one current per turn. If you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess, you can activate it from your hand. This is very wordy to, like, stack a win more effect of effect damage on top of battle damage. But it's an interesting form of interaction. And the art's very pretty before I banish it forever. I do like that Marincess have this cool, like, you can activate this trap card from your hand effect to get around, like, a lot of the limitations of trap cards, especially in the late Vrains era. Vrains was really interesting because, on the one hand, it really tried to bring trap cards back. Literally, characters in the anime were playing, like, staple trap cards like Magic Cylinder and Mirror Force. Red Reboot got used in the anime a couple of times, shit like that, right? But also, 2020, like, the late Vrains to post Vrains era was the biggest era of trap cards don't fucking matter, the battle phase doesn't matter, your opponent's just going to blow up all of your back row anyway, or have 10,000 negates. So, like, it's very interesting to see kind of, like, where they're at with the design space, and then it kind of be like, it didn't really matter. This one's called Marincess Snow. It's also very pretty, but I don't know why there's snow under the water. Trap card. If a Marincess Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, target one of those monsters, special summon a Marincess Link monster from your action deck with a lower rating. This is treated as a Link summon. It's unaffected by your opponent's card effects while you control it. You can only activate one snow per turn. This one can activate from your hand, which is a little sad, but you will also notice that it's funny as I'm talking about this. Like, I'm also I think I joked before about kind of like chat. Maybe you can remind me, what deck did we say was like Proto Tenpai? There've been a couple of, like, Proto Tenpai deck jokes. Marincess also feels like a Proto Tenpai. They've got a very striking field spell that does a huge, like, attack gain thing. They have multiple ways to make their monsters unaffected. So I feel like their idea was to just, like, make a big lady. But like I said, I don't think these days you play Marincess as, like, a blind second OTK deck. Like, you build a board, you make it so your opponent can't beat you in battle, and then you swing for game after. It's very weird. Also, by the way, remember how I said that hypothetically you could use the, what's-her-face, Sea Angel to search any spell card? You'll notice, other than the field spell, we've had 3 trap cards, and we're about to have a 4th trap card. I do think they actually get a 2nd spell card, but it truly is the Link one that searches the field spell, because you didn't have any other spells to search. This is Marincess Wave, and I want to say out of all of the Marincess trap cards, you might play Current as, like, a gotcha to, like, add extra damage, right? Wave is the trap card you definitely still play these days. If you control a Marincess Link monster, target one monster your opponent controls, negate its effect until the end of this turn. If you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess, all face-up monsters you control are currently unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. If you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess, you can activate this card from your hand. So if you control a link through your higher Marincess, this card is just imperm and also makes all your gals unaffected by card effects. All currently controlled face-up monsters anyway. So yeah, no, this is like the one trap card I think they have that has stood the test of time. So let's talk about some of their support, which means we get to actually look at monsters. Not just trap cards of generic water women doing water things in the battle ocean, which is under the water. First, Marincess, Sleepy Maiden. Which is probably named after the Sleeper Goby, the Golden Head Sleeper Goby, also known as the Blue Band Goby or the Pennant Glider. So it's an aquarium fish again, chat. We're back at the aquarium.
Yeah.
Also, I just mentioned this before when we talked about Maiden of Blue Tears. The Marincess player switched her alias from Blue Angel to Blue Maiden, so, you know, Sleepy Maiden, the sleepy-head guppy. She is very, very sleepy. Also good colors. Definitely less villainous than some of the others. Again, kind of like, I don't really get what the Marincess' vibe is, because some of these women are sinister. This chick is literally just sleepy. She's just eepy. She's just a little eepy, chat. She's just a fucking Goby-themed VTuber, chat. So this is their second attempt at making a higher level Marincess. She is level 5. She's got 500 attack and 2500 defense. Target a Marincess card you control, special summon this card from your hand. If it do, it gains this effect while this card's in a monster zone. The targeted card can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Marincess Link monster you control, equip it with a Marincess Link monster from your graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. So because you don't play Crown Tail, you can play Sleepy Maiden. Sleepy Maiden actually has a way to special summon her effect herself. And her effect does protect your monsters. Basically, while she's on the board, the monster you targeted to summon her can't be destroyed by your opponent. So you can... Sorry, I just bumped my mic arm a little. You can, like, you know, use it as protection or use it as extension, and then also it sets up the whole equip theme. A much better card. The chains are going crazy in the Master Duel soundtrack. Next, then, our last main deck. Like I said, unless actually, I can literally pull up Marincess and, like, double check. But this is Marincess Spring Girl. No, all of the links are purple. This is every Marincess in the list. Named after Crisptera Springeri, also known as Springer's Demoiselle, which is a type of damselfish. Also, guess what? In addition to being Blue Angel and Blue Maiden, the Marincess player was also known as Blue Girl. I really hope her having a fucking identity crisis was part of the plot, and not just she kept changing her fucking alias. But yes, actually, yeah, it's been a little bit since I did grab one. Let me show you the Springer's Demoiselle, because it's a pretty striking fish color, and like I said, it's definitely where this design is drawing from. It's also really interesting to see, like, you know, she's got her hair, obviously, and some hair decks, but also, like, her dress tail, like, becomes so fine it's almost like hair. It's very interesting. She's also, like, 2 iotas more tanned than the other Marincesses. Does this mean anything? Don't know. But Spring Girl is a level 4 Water Cybers with 1200 attack and 1000 defense. You can banish a Marincess from your graveyard, especially summon this card from your hand. If this card's sent from as material for a link summon of a water monster, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Marincess you control. If you send a Marincess, inflict 200 damage for each Marincess card spent. You can only use each effect once per turn. I mean, you probably still play Spring Girl because she banishes and then summons herself, so she's pretty free extension. Her milling effect is interesting, obviously because this was 22, Duelist from the Deep. So, like immediately just before, Tier Limit stuff. Tier Limits and Marincess are not compatible because Tier Limits are actually Dark Aquas. But it is interesting to see the kind of, like, this self-milling effect. God, I wonder if you would... Is Marincess one of those decks where you would play Laundry Dragon Maid just for to have a water you can fucking summon? If you don't know, chat,
another deck.
Laundry Dragon Maid shows up in a lot of decks that don't have conventional normal summons because her only effect on normal is to mill 3 off the top of your deck, and she is a water. Like, she's a card that's good in Dragon Maid, but also has, like, showed up in a lot of weird places, as opposed to, like, Dragon decks, which just play, like, Chamber Dragon Maid and Dragon Link.
It's one of my favorite dumb jokes that became some odd I think I've shared in the past, which was just Laundry and fucking Eldritch hanging out.
Yeah, no, it was a Tech and Eldritch deck, so you would play her because she could mill your elixirs and stuff, or even Big E himself because he can summon from graveyard. Like, it's so funny when you're playing decks that don't need to conventionally normal summon, because I think the only card that has a normal summon effect is Blue Tang, and that also works on special. So, like, if you've got extenders, several of your links just use water monsters, so it's a funny one. But this card mills a few and then can inflict damage. This is probably what we would call a time card back in the day, but obviously they've changed the time rules recently, so it's not as important. I don't know if you'll still be playing this. What I've basically learned is that Marincess got a second wave of support, but again, the reason why they didn't become super meta when that happened is their support cards are mostly just okay. Their new Link 4 we're about to talk about is pretty cool, but Sleepy Maiden and Spring Girl are just kind of like better names than some of your other bad names. This, though, is Aqua Argonaut. So, if you don't know, Argonaut is a type of octopus. And one of them is specifically the Argonautica Argo, which in Japanese is known as Aoigai, which obviously in Japanese, the Marincess duelist's name is Aoi. And this is basically her, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sona. Like, this... It didn't actually appear in the anime, so it's a little different than, like, some of the other stuff, but this is just basically her, Aoi or Sky, as, like, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. It has her Twin Tails style. Face is very similar to her. I think the coloration's a little different. The artist who draws Marincess is also, I think, has a thing about feet that is barely constrained by the fact that these girls mostly need to wear shoes. I didn't talk about it. One of them had the grippers out, and it could also just be that this was done from a pose reference, but, like, her toes are trying to escape that front shoe. Which is not an unrealistic thing, but again, it's one of those things that, like, so either we drew this from a pose reference and stuck very strictly to it. Oh, there's something going on here, chat. Also, she has a lot of Konami orbs. We added extra orbs. I don't really know why they decided, I guess, other than I guess it's because, again, the name is Aoigai, but, like, I don't know why they decided to name her after an octopus. I guess she's wearing like a cloak, which is kind of like some octopods and cuttlefish. But otherwise, I don't think she's very octopuscular. Octopodical? Octopodular. Not very octopus-esque.
No. She just looks like a girl on a clam.
Hi, Dallas.
With the way the little spirals up on her head are, if you told me she was also like a goat or something, I would believe it.
Yeah, it's a very
I'm not really
a very
fan
weird
of
one.
this design.
I get what they're going for because I brought this up like immediately before you showed up, Dallas. Aqua Argonaut is like clearly supposed to be the Marincess duelist, whose name in Japanese, her first name is Aoi, which is again the Japanese name for that type of octopus is Aoi guy, so it's like a pun there. This is just her as a Yu-Gi-Oh card, which is a thing other archetypes have done, but it does mean that she's not as strongly themed after her water animal, which is a shame because a lot of the other Marincess cards really do look like the fish they're referencing.
Yeah.
That said, Aqua Argonaut is a very playable card in the support wave. She's another Water Link 4, 2+ water monsters. While she's in your EMZ, your opponent can only attack this monster. They can't attack monsters except this one. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. Target a water monster you control, one card your opponent controls, return it to hand. During your opponent's turn, when a spell trap card is activated on the field, special summon one of your Marincess cards equipped to this card, and if you do, negate that effect. So, Aqua Argonaut is important because she gives you a something resembling a proper turn 1 play while still being good on turn like 2s because she's got a removal system. Once per turn, pop one of your or bounce one of your water cards, bounce another of your opponent's cards. But also she has a negate effect, which is something the deck didn't really have previously.
Yeah. I mean, it made Marincess viable again.
Yeah. It's just something I was saying that was really interesting, because I've mostly seen people play Marincess, like, post this support. I don't really remember seeing it in, like, 2019, 2020. I brought back our favorite joke, Dallas, that Marincess was just secretly them prototyping Tenpai all along. It's a deck where you summon several monsters that get huge attack bonuses and are unaffected by your opponent. I don't think a lot of people seem to like playing this as, like, a weird water OTK strat. So they got some more control elements in the support. I'm pretty sure you play Aqua Argonaut as your other 4 besides Wonderheart these days. Probably cutting Bubble Reef.
You might. I would say you probably cut Wonderheart before you cut Bubble Reef. Personally,
I guess you can just play Crystal Heart and then make Aqua Argonaut with Crystal Heart, and then you have an unaffected guy for later anyway.
Yeah.
Extra deck space in this deck is probably pretty tight because you have a lot of names. This archetype is about 50% fucking extra deck. Link monsters. There we go. Fucking, I'm sleepy today. Speaking of which, they got one more one.
Oh.
Portrayal Triangle. Named after.
Is this another
Coral
weird
Triangle.
shape one?
No, the Coral Triangle is like I think she's named after the same way that Bubble Reef is. The Coral Triangle, which isn't actually a triangle, but somebody said it was. That's basically the area with, like, the Philippines at the top and then Australia at the bottom. It includes, Timor, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, shit like that, where there are a lot of coral reefs.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would point out it has the exact same link arrows as Tindangle Acute Cerberus.
Because the brother and sister, I think.
Yeah, like
I don't fucking know who's related.
I thought it was like that.
I can't remember.
Vrains hurts my brains. I brought up at least that this. I keep having to be like this character or the Marincess duelist because, like, not only did they name change her for the dub, but also, if I'm understanding the wiki correctly, this girl went through like 3 fucking internet aliases.
Yes.
She was the Blue Girl, the Blue Angel, and the Blue Maiden. I'm just like,
okay,
oh my God.
I'm gonna say something controversial. or I don't know if this is controversial. Genuinely, my least favorite female character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh.
I actually don't know. If
Mostly because they kept trying to like simultaneously make her relevant, but then not.
I do believe a lot of people do agree that I feel like people brought up that they feel like her character's ball was dropped a little.
Granted, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never had a good female character, but even out of that...
Some are, I feel like, more memorable than others, and at least there are characters sometimes where you kind of feel like they tried.
I mean, trying to think. Maybe Taya in the first season.
I mean, at least she has a strong like supporting, role thanks to being Kaz's actual writing.
Yeah.
Mai doesn't have a great win-loss record, but for a recurring bit character, she does better than other recurring bit characters.
Honestly, it might just be season 1 probably has the best, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Pure, or whatever you want to call that.
Series 1.
Series 1.
Like Akiza, I think they were trying, but that was, again, 5.
No, that was...
rewrit some stuff in the back row, so it didn't matter.
I would say Akiza is on the bottom tier of that list. Because, to me, it's worse when they are obviously trying to do something, and then just say, fuck it, we're not gonna do it. Than if you just don't try at all.
That is probably a more apt criticism to be like, you were trying to do something and then you didn't. Also, by the way, chat, hey, this is there's like 2 censored arts in Marincess. This is one of them, and I'm pretty sure once again all they did do was just in her normal art, her cleavage is slightly more in detail, and in the TCG they took the eraser tool and rubbed out a couple of the lines. Also, not beating the fucking foot allegations again. This girl's wearing like weird open-toed slippers that aren't open-toed because they've got
I forgot
silk
her
in them or something.
Name. Sorry, I don't blame you for not remembering her name of Zaizen.
Yeah, that's her last name is consistent in both, and I'm just like, no, we're not gonna do that. It's Sky or it's Aoi, but it's also, like I said, she's got a bunch of internet aliases, and it's just like, I said earlier, I'm like, I really hope that this girl's identity crisis was part of the show. Otherwise, they just decided to change her wrestling gimmick for no reason. Sure.
No, I believe if I remember correctly, and I could be completely wrong. I think she's like the equivalent of a VTuber, and she just rebrands. I
do believe she is like some sort of virtual idol type thing, because that's the Trickstars are like themed like an idol band or like music girls, and then she's just also, like, no, I'm an aquarium girly now.
Oh no, I remember when she rebranded. She died. I remember. She got turned into Data. And then she came back as much less important and started playing Marincess. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's like, I don't really know. Like, I know Konami exercises some element of creative control on the anime. Not as much as people like to think. Pictures of this
girl unconscious or in pain.
But as I was saying, like, I know Konami exercises some level of creative control over the anime. I don't know how much. I think less than people think they do. The infamous conspiracy theories about, like, no, Konami shaped the ban list and the releases to make Blackwings good because they wanted you to like Crow better, and they introduced Crow to get to Blackwing sooner. And no, they did not do that.
No,
the timeline doesn't line up for that.
Here's why that's stupid. Crow is like the most stereotypical, this character is going to be popular character ever.
No, I think they called their shot when they threw him in. Like, I do think there was some priority shifts that led to Crow cropping up as a character, but that was like clearly early in the design process of scripting and sketching out the seasons. They were like, This guy probably could be more important. Like, this guy could be popular. We should make him more important. Adding an extra dragon and shit. It makes me wonder if, like, Konami, like, told the anime guys, like, hey, you gotta cut this Trickstar shit out, man. This deck is tearing up the meta. We're gonna have to ban so many cards. You gotta get it off the screen so we can send it to hell. Looking at you, Firewall Dragon.
I'm much more willing to believe that Konami makes changes in the anime based on the TCG than the other way around.
That's fair.
Don't get me wrong. I fully believe Konami is incompetent. I just don't think they're that incompetent.
I could see them, like, going for because we did bring this up when we talked about cyber stuff before. It did really seem like Firewall Dragon wasn't getting banned when it was clearly a problem card because it was a protagonist ace monster, and then once they just gave him a new ace monster, they just stopped showing Firewall Dragon in the anime and banned it in real life, in paper. So, I don't know. Anyway, Coral Triangle is a neat design. Again, she is kind of just, like, a little on the generic anime woman, but she's got, like, weird pointed ears. I think her hands are actually just blue. That maybe that her feet are just out and her toes are just blue. Don't answer that question, chat. But it's a cool-looking costume, and I like the colors. Like I said, I don't really... This smacks of a rebrand that, again, is just, like... This girl just, like, got into aquariums all of a sudden, and just now we're here. Like, because I don't really know what the Marincess are supposed to represent, other than, like I said, this girl just really decided she liked the Little Mermaid.
That's what it seems like.
I know that they're, like, obviously the water Ignis AI is involved, but it's still just, like, I don't know, man. It's not a bad design. I just don't really know what this archetype is going for aesthetically. Coral Triangle's a Link 3. She's got, well, the triangular arrows. Again, we brought up the Tin Nagel thing earlier. She's only got 1,500, so it's pretty low for a Link 3. Their other Link 3 Marble Rock is pretty big. 2+ Marincess monster, so this is actually archetype locked. You can send a water monster from your hand to graveyard and a Marincess trap from your deck to your hand. If only your opponent controls a monster, banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon water link monsters, whose combined link ratings equals exactly 3. You're going to use each effect once per turn, and you can't special summon the turn you activate either of these effects except water. This one's okay. They have a link one that searches the field spell, because they literally didn't have any other spells, I think, until this support wave. So searching a trap is good. I'm pretty sure this one probably makes the cut in certain versions of the deck.
I think this probably usually makes the cut as a one-of just because the traps are very good. Like,
yeah,
Marincess has 2 very good traps.
Yes, and both of their very good traps have this funny thing where you can activate them from your hand if you control a Link 3 or higher monster, which this qualifies as. So, you probably play one of her to get access to your trap line, because you can do that turn 1 or turn 2 if you're on the play. But it's very oddball. I do at least like that, you know, the if only your opponent controls a monster. We have some interesting recovery type effects to get some girlies back on the board. But it's a very odd deck. I do kind of feel like the support was kind of like only partially formed, but also I think that's just a fair assessment about whatchamacallit, Duelists from the Deep. The Water Duelist pack, like, that had some cards in it that are, like, kind of good, but weren't really good enough to make their decks, like, actually top tier, so they just kind of stuck around. That's where all of the bullshit Umi control shit you hate is from. Like, you know, Sea Stealth 2, Electric Jellyfish, you know, shit like that.
The pack that has made limited series unwatchable.
Yeah, like, some of them are good, but, like, Dragonlord Karyushin's annoying.
I think all of them are annoying. I think that the Umi deck is just annoying.
No, Umi control. I mean, like, I get what they're going for because they're literally trying to imitate the first duel in the manga. That was all about, Umi control, but also Umi control fucking sucks, chat. I hate it.
The problem is generally control decks don't work well in Yu-Gi-Oh! They just
especially
turn into
because
stun
their way of
decks.
modeling, yes, about to say their way of modeling the control aspect of the Umi stuff is turning it into you just play it, you dial it up to 11 and turn it into a stun deck, and it sucks. But they printed a shitload of them, like the new Marinsa stuff, and then also that had a lot of the like first wave of Shark support that didn't really take off yet, but is good now. Like Silent Honor Dark and Arc were reprinted. And they added new cards like Nash Knight and Chaos Nash Knight. Abyss Shark, Crystal Shark, like... Shark Xyz stuff is good in that deck, but not enough to make you go, oh, I want to buy this. So, like, I think that deck was just a little... That pack, I should say, was just a little undercooked. Can I grab this normal card art?
I feel like most of the elemental packs were kind of that way, in my opinion.
A couple of them were really good. Some of them were very weak. Let me actually look at the history of these packs. Soul Burning Volcano. We talked about the Soul Burner stuff that was in it. That was pretty good. Boxer, Volcanic, and Salad all became rogue playable, if not tiered, as a result. Like Boxer, I think would stay rogue, but like. Volcanic got tops. Salmon Great got tops. So that one like mattered. Synchro Storm was weird because like I feel like 66% of that wasn't playable. Like none of the new Lyrilisk stuff they did actually made that deck good, which is a shame because fucking all these the cards that are in it are good. It's just they don't fucking matter. Like that wasn't enough to make Lyrilisk like playable. All the Speedroid stuff that's new is also good, but wasn't enough to make Speedroid good. And nobody played the Fleur stuff for Fleur stuff. They played it because that was the pack that gave us Barone. So like it's hard to call the pack a failure, but also like clearly not doing the right thing.
You can call packs like that failures. Like,
that's fair,
what is it?
Like they got one good
to do a Magic example. That's essentially what Kamigawa is. 90% of that pack is absolute poo-poo bad garbage, and then there's Umizawa's Jite, which is was a staple in Standard and Limited and everything, and like a $50 card. But the rest of the pack was useless garbage.
And then Rage of Ra was what they retitled the Dark Pack. That was absolute anime poo-poo slop. Like, that was fucking the Jinzo support that does nothing. Mech Lord support that everybody said was going to do something and doesn't.
I haven't told you this. I have a new thing. I fucking hate whoever the term slop. I'm done.
It did get popular.
I heard people using the term quality slop. It's like, you just like quality slop because it's good. I'm like, okay, the term is done. The term is dead. You
actually cannot do quality slop. That's not how English works.
We're done.
Yeah.
Welcome to Dallas, you're right. Whoever said that, they killed it. You took it too far. You can't do that. It isn't, as Loth said, it isn't oxymoron. It doesn't work. Because, like, I think it started because that was actually, like, a thing going on. People were like, hey, some of this media out there is just slop for pigs. You're just, like, throwing it in a trough. Friend slop was already, like, pushing the limits because, like, on the one hand, you're only calling it friend slop because you don't have any friends. But also, like, a lot of those games did seem designed just so that, like, 4 streamers could get in a collab and scream really loud.
Yeah.
And you could sell copies, which, like, isn't bad, but definitely is like, you question the, like, long-term longevity. But yeah, no, if you go to, like, you're trying to be, like, quality slop, it's just like, okay, we got to find a new word. Yeah. But yeah, the Dark Pack, like I said, literally didn't even get branded as a Dark Pack in the TCG. They called it Rage of Ra. That had the Ra stuff that, like, you see all your Ra 1-tricks playing on Master Duel Ladder. That's it.
Free wins, got it.
Yeah, that's, Reactor Slime, Guardian Slime, Egyptian God Slime, shit like that. It's just like, it's not that good.
Those guys who, whenever I activate Dark Ruler no more, they just cry.
And we didn't even get the... Konami, I think, realized the problem. They didn't even launch the Light Pack in America because that didn't have the Trickstar support in it. That all got put into Mazes of the Master, which included the ABC stuff that, like, people were hyping up, and then the cards came out and they realized, I think MBT put it the best, the new ABC stuff, XYZ stuff, makes you build a worse version of the deck. Because you have to play, like, one vanilla X-Head cannon as, like, a Garnet and shit. It's, like... It's the unrealistic combo dimensions wet dream of a deck, because technically, like, the new X-Head cannon and Y-Dragon Yearhead and shit are, like, technically, like, infinites, but also, like, you have to play a shittier deck, so it doesn't work. I don't even remember who the third light guy was.
Oh wait, Omega, you like Avatar, right?
What, the
Last show?
Airbender? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm one of those rare people who likes both
you
TLA
that
and
Ko the Face Stealer is about to be hilarious.
Oh.
Magic.
Yeah. I just show you that. I do want to show you this one because it's.
Go for it.
It's already created three new. It's already created 3 new rulings. In Magic.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's see, Maze of the Master. There's the Union stuff, the Trickstar stuff.
We'll do the smiley face one.
Was it Allure Queen? Or did they break out the shit into other stuff, chat? I mean, the Allure Queen stuff is, like, also stupid as hell. I ran into somebody doing a fucking Allure Queen engine Golden Sark deck in Master Duel. That might have been a loner.
That is slightly based. Slightly based.
Good for them for trying, but also, what I've learned from Master Duel specifically is I fucking hate Shining Sark. It is the most, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bat chest archetype ever that's full of, like, dumb interactions. And I'm just like, oh my god. And it's like, and like I said, Konami keeps giving it out to people for free to try and get them to play it, but it's also like, Konami, stop making it a free event deck. They're not going to pay for the extra URs if you keep making it a loner, because it's not good. They're not going to play it on ranked. But also, I'm getting tired of getting blown up by Gandora X.
Gandora.
Though I have at least seen some people fuck it up. By the way, this is Bubble Ring. Before I put Ko the Face Stealer on screen, just so you can also see it, chat. Let's see. Bubble Ring is a normal trap that says when a monster declares an attack, negate it. Special summon a Crystal Heart from your extra deck or graveyard. You can manage this card from your graveyard, target a link 2 or higher Marincess you control. It can attack a number of times its battle phase up to its link rating, and your opponent takes no battle damage from attacks involving it this turn. You only activate 1 Bubble Ring per turn. This card's bad.
Yeah.
This is a bad card. Can't even activate it from hand. But also, you're playing an OTK deck, basically. Like, you have, like I said, you have control elements with some of the trap cards and stuff, and some of your newer interactions, but ultimately, I'm pretty sure the way Marincess wins the game is when it passes back to your turn when you have a battle phase, you're like, cool, I have a Link 4 that's unaffected and has, like, 5,000 attack, you're dead. So your opponent taking no battle damage, not great. You might be able to make it work. Great art design on Ko here, by the way. Let me look at this.
This is the alt art, I should say.
Spirit. I mean, it's you know, full art style, but it's a very good one. When Ko enters, exile up to 1 other target creature. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may exile it. Pay 1 life. Choose a creature exiled by Ko. Ko has all the activated and triggered abilities of the last chosen card. Okay, so it's the last chosen card. But yeah, there's no way that this recurable copy ability that you only have to pay life to use could cause problems.
So
like
they
I don't know.
They had to issue a ruling already about this card specifically, which is always fun when they do that in pre-release. So because theoretically, the theory behind it, this is not the case, I should say, but this was the theory behind it. So theoretically, if you had Ko become a creature with an ability that was only triggerable once per turn, and then become a different creature, and then become that same creature with that once per turn ability, because it changed forms of what it was, essentially it would reset that ability. Wizards basically just had to issue a ruling that's like, no, it doesn't work like that. I know it should work like that, but it doesn't.
So Wizards basically got confronted with the hard versus soft once per turn rule and just had to be like, no, we're not doing that shit.
Yeah, for this card specifically, it does not work like this.
I mean, so here's the funny thing.
It already goes infinite pretty easily.
Here's the funny thing. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, you wouldn't have that problem because of the distinction between hard and soft once per turns.
Yeah.
But also, cards that copy abilities in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like that are also super problematic because card abilities were not meant to be copied.
So normally, Omega, that's normally the case. Normally, with most things, those hard ones per turn ability, like if you use a hard once per turn ability, sacrifice it and then bring that creature back, it usually remembers for a lot of them.
Yeah.
But specifically, if you change into something, there are different rulings.
I will say, I think people were probably a little too copium on thinking it would be that way because Ko does say that he just has all the activated and triggered abilities of the last card chosen. So he doesn't actually, like, become a different creature when he, pays the life. It's just that he gains their abilities, and you can switch abilities.
Yeah. It's still a really good card, and it still does go infinite pretty easily. Especially because it is not thankfully, it is not opponent's creatures, because you don't actually do this to your opponent's creatures, you do it to your own.
Yeah.
Because
you're playing black and
pretty
you
easy infinite combos that way. Yeah. You just set what's a little bit of sacrifice.
Hey, the only point of life that matters is the last one, baby.
Exactly.
It's very fun.
But yeah,
let's do the last
set
two.
Looks pretty interesting.
That's nice. We probably won't do a big old deep dive episode like we did for a month and a half on Final Fantasy, but
maybe we could just do one episode and I can do a curated list of interesting shit.
We can try that because like I settled on Marincess earlier today, chat, because I was like, shit, have we done all the Trick Stars? We should probably like update the new ones because those like literally came out this year, and I conferred with Marth, our record keeper, and it was like, no, we haven't done Marincess. We have done Machina, and they haven't done any new Machina cards, so we can't do like the Machina structure deck retrain. Our next structure deck, by the way, then would be Sacred Beast, which I'm pretty sure we haven't done an episode on, but also that's going to be so funny because those guys are like so bad. I think the only one who's been like really relevant is Hamon. I think some Fiend decks back in the day may have made what's his face Raziel work.
Yeah, there's some stuff.
I mean,
funny enough,
I feel like the Sacred Beasts are more playable in Egyptian gods.
They 100%.
Yeah.
With the exception of Obelisk once,
yeah,
I believe the Sacred Beasts have more results than the Egyptian gods by a lot.
I mean, I if you want to get technical, thanks to the power of Ball, Ra probably has more tops because Sphere Mode is like side deck card. But also, we're intelligent consumers here, chat. We have media literacy. We know that shit don't count. You're playing it as like as a fucking a side deck card.
I'll probably just put like a list of like 20. I'll probably put a list of 20 cards because some of these are just hilarious.
We can run that back. We can run that back and see if people want to pop in. But yeah, now if you're one of those people who is crazy enough to play Ball, to play Sphere Mode, and play Immortal Phoenix for the follow-up for the gag, that counts. That was less popular though because that involves having a brick, playing with a Garnet. Anyway, this is Marincess Circulation. It shows Wonderheart and Bubble Reef teaming up, which I'm sure means something to somebody. This is another trap that says target a water link monster you control, return it to your extra deck, special summon a Marincess link monster for your extra deck with the same link rating but a different name, which is why they show these two, I think, because they are both 4s, so you can swap them. But it can't attack directly or be destroyed by battle this turn. This is treated as a link summon. And if you control a link for your high Marincess, you can activate this card from your hand. This is another one you can probably play one of because it lets you, like... Basically, if your opponent, like, blanks one of your big Marincess links, it lets you hot swap to a different one, which you can use to, you know, trigger effects, and you also won't be destroyed by battle. Still definitely very situational. So, Bubble Ring bad, Circulation situational. I'm pretty sure Dive is their other spell card. Yes. They gave this archetype one spell card you can search, and I'm pretty sure Dive is good. I don't know why this deck is Upal trap cards. Konami, you probably should give them some more spell cards. But Dive here is a normal spell. It says activate one of the following effects. For the rest of the turn, if you activate these effects, you can't special summon monsters except water. Either target one non-link Marincess in your graveyard, special summon it. If Battle Ocean is in your field zone, special summon a Marincess monster from your deck. You can activate one Dive per turn. I was correct. This card is good. Monster Reborn or Fetch from deck. If you have Battle Ocean, this is just a free 3 of Extender, baby. So yeah, like looking at it, I stand by my statement when I started this chat of just being like, I've never been interested in Marincess as an archetype over Trickstar. I think Trickstar, while messier, is a much more interesting game plan because it is a mostly burn-based deck that also has some control, some battle elements with like attack modulation or, you know, doing interesting stuff like, oh, you took effect damage, I get to pop one of your cards now, kind of a thing. Marincess just seems like a fairly linear Cyberse Link climb deck where you climb into a Link 4 who has a shitload of attack. The trap card element is cool. I still think they've got like 6 of those and maybe 3 or 4 are good. So like 50-ish range. Could do more with that concept. I will be interested to see if they do ever actually, you know, crack back with some more support. Like we said earlier, the Duelist from the Deep pack was not super well received. The cards were all decent, but none of them were killer apps enough for people to like care. So they ended up like in bulk. They were also super delayed. That was like right at the start of COVID shutdown, so they were super delayed through a lot of stuff. Or in the middle of COVID shutdowns, somewhere in there. It got delayed a long time and wasn't super great. And like I said, Konami literally just relocates the packs. The other meta pack, I think, was the Earth pack, and that also got chopped up into like 3 different things. They just put the Amazon S stuff and the Power Tool stuff in a core set to fill out, and they put the other stuff was the Ishizu retrains. You know, they got a Guido. They put that in a side set, and because they understood that was good, but that the other 2 packs weren't good enough to like sell the whole set, and that was pretty good. Like the Amazon S cards absolutely work as like common charity, like not really pack filler, but like extending the amount of cards in a pack. Honestly, probably the same with the Power Tool Morphtronic stuff. Like those cards were good, but didn't really make Morphtronic relevant. The new version of Power Tool, I think that was Braver Dragon. He's pretty cool in certain decks. But like the Ishizu Shufflers are like, those are meta-defining cards that are all in prison. Like I think they're all Limit 1 or banned, and they're going to stay that way forever, chat. But yes, this was Trickstar Update and Marincess. Like I said, we'll probably do that little bonus one, or a little Magic extra episode to do pretty good. So we'll probably take a crack at some of the Avatar stuff.
Yeah.
I think that means our next one is probably Altergeist, and then we find something else to do. Sacred Beast, probably. we do have a poll running on Patreon. Support us on Patreon. And you can get access to some cool stuff and vote in the poll to set up some more archetypes. I guess I should mention again that we're probably relocating the poll results to like the first week in the new month rather than the last week in the month it's in, so you got longer to vote, so it's better. But yeah, this has been the Fail Portrayal. I would probably try and faff around to make it last 3 hours long, but like I said, I've been fighting my sinuses all day, so my throat's getting a little scratchy.
Yeah. I haven't been doing the best as a co-host either.
I mean, I have a funny question that I could ask you.
Sure, go for it.
Who do you think is the most random character they put in the Avatar set?
Oh god, the most random character.
Cabbage
Because
Man.
obviously, no, that's not that random. That guy's a meme.
True enough.
Oh, god, I'm trying to
They
think.
did
There's a lot of
also
obscure-
definitely put him in the set.
Oh, I know they did. I don't know,
yeah.
like the secret tunnel guy. That's probably the weirdest pull I would think of.
Do you mean the secret tunnel guy and girl?
Oh, it's true. There are two of them.
Tang and Lily.
Oh my god, hold on. We're tabbing. Son of a bitch! It is the two of them. He's right there with his stupid instrument. It's very funny, but also I feel deep pain.
How about the bounty hunter's weird dog thing?
Oh, Nyla, yeah. Does this like wombo combo with her at least?
I haven't found her yet. That'd be hilarious if they didn't give her a card.
If they gave her weird mole dog, like mole bloodhound a card and not her, I think they have to give her a card. She should have been multiple episodes.
Yeah. June. Yeah. No, they did.
Yes, June.
I guess. I mean, they're the same color at least. Where's the last one? There's one other. I don't even remember this character existing. Apparently, it's someone named Flopsy.
Oh, yeah, Flopsy. I forget what was Ape Goat is what they call them. I think that's what it is. Yeah, that's King Boomy's pet that Aang had to fight.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's very because they're only doing this for the first series.
Yes, because they want to make
so
money.
they can do Korra a separate one.
Yes, they will make more money because they won't push out the people who don't like Korra. I was gonna say earlier, I'm not one of those people actually. I think the series did struggle a little to find its feet, but the last 2 seasons are really good.
Oh, that's awesome! They're reprinting a $500 card.
Hell yeah,
as
you love to hear
Azula.
it. You love to hear it. But yeah, that also does mean that, like you said, they can just take the Korra stuff and make a separate set. And they're also making a new one. It's like post-apocalyptic. Because the writers of Last Airbender are cowards and did not want to do Airbender but the 90s. We did not get Modem Punk Airbender, and it sucks. Cowards.
Yeah. No, there's some real fun stuff. I can bring a list of like the most mechanically interesting cards, as well as like the powerhouse cards.
Yeah. And if you find any arts that are funny, we love to see those.
Oh, of course. I mean, I found some arts that are fucking amazing, but
I mean, we do like to occasionally gush, but sometimes we have to look at a card. Speaking of which, by the way, Marin says Dive is on screen. That's Angel and Blue Tang. Very good artwork. Again, considering most of these girls, like I said, are just kind of like generic.
yeah, that is the one benefit of being a protagonist deck, is that they do like care somewhat.
They try a little.
Like.
I do kind of feel like there are probably a few anime names they forgot, but I think that's more on the Trickstar side than the Rincess side. I literally mentioned there are, at least I know of like a couple of Trickstar names that are just not in paper. It's probably okay. They're probably not very good, but it's just one of those things that's always funny to see. But again, that's why they have Animation Chronicle, chat. But thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you up with more Failed Portrayal. And assuming we don't explode, I think it's been better. We'll be back tomorrow with more Final Fantasy 14s. I don't know exactly what we're doing. We might actually do some of the cruiserweight raids because they released the weekly stuff. So I don't know. We might do some farming some materials. I know they're getting ready for Moogle Tombstone stuff. But we'll see you next time. Don't forget to do the old like, comment, and subscribe. If you care, check out the Rogue Trader stream that we did on Monday, especially if you want there to be more of those, because I think we're petering out. So it may be time for a switch up. And check out the short I posted. That's it. Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.